Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. So today the plan is just to take a look at some of the ongoing FOB Arena games. There should be two being played today, or two sets actually, not two games. We have for once Gasgod versus Pantalori, which I'm very excited to see. And then we do have two lesser known players, although one of them I think we have seen on the channel as well, which is Ponyboy, and he is playing against Gibno. Now, I believe that one is today, if I got this correctly, but I might be wrong, but I think it should add up. And I think it should be around that time because it is in one of the American time zones. But I think I I got the correct time for us, so it should be somewhat soonish as well, I think. So we're just gonna see where we catch first, and that's what we're gonna watch. At the moment, I know that Panzeroli and Gascot are doing picks and bans, so we're gonna have to be patient for a little bit. I hope to, get them when they're already past this, by doing it a little bit later than they agreed to play, but I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit more. So I'm just gonna wait for them to at least let me know what the matchup is, and then we can at least, spend some time looking at the divisions that are going to be playing while we wait for them to finish building their deck so that we can actually see the game. In the meantime, we can actually take a quick look at the results so far. I think Koenig has posted a nice picture here. You can see who has played so far and what the result was. Just need to really quick switch the scene so that you can actually see it. There you go. So this is the standing as it is right now in League. So as you can see, Division 3 is actually quite active, and Division 4 especially active. Division 1 and 2 taking it a little bit more chilled, but that's all right as well. So at the moment, in Division 1, we have Stardic beating Curb in their respective Group A. So Stardic, I think, being the one player there that is probably seen as the most promising player in that group. And in Group B, we do have Moobrook versus Espresso, which is a tie so far. So the tie meta has been officially introduced into this league season, which is good. It has a little bit of a history. It's at least since the last, well, and it's FOB Arena, the original league. At least in the last season, I don't know how it was earlier, but in the last season, which is where I played, we had a ton of ties. I think Division 1 was almost exclusively ties. Division 2, a lot of them too. And even Division 3, which is where I've been playing at that point, we had lots of them. So, it definitely has. And in the first season of FOB Arena, it has happened a lot too. So there's definitely a bit of a tradition here. In Division 2, it's mostly a Robert playing so far. So he's won both games against Froblord, and I, in turn, have won both games against Robert. Now, the question is going to be whether I'm going to play Froblord this or next week as well. So, curious to see how I'm going to do against him, because he's still a good player. He's a little bit rusty, but I should not underestimate that, or him for that matter. Division 2, Valzer has actually lost against Skoda, so Skoda having a good start as well here. And then Division 3, there's a lot of people that you might not know, but I think some of these names we've seen already. So we have Platypus who has actually been very active. He just played another one today, so he has lost both games against Minivan Clan and then lost both games against Drago Tango. He has made a tie against, forgot the name, some other guy today. So it's not looking very good for him, to be honest. Minivan Clan, the same group, on the other hand, has so far the 2 wins and, a time with Drago Tango, so time after living on. So let's see how that's going to go. Drago Tango definitely, I think, on a good course, and so is Minivan Clan, really. In Division 3 Group B, we do have so far only Panzerloli winning versus Snipping Chinos, but he will also play Gascot today, so we're going to see how that's going to go. Definitely quite curious for that matchup, because Panzeroli is a strong newcomer. That being said, Gascot, who has been for quite a while and always been, I think, relatively consistently in this rough skill tier, is not to be underestimated, because he can still get some nice wins sometimes against some of the better players. So I don't think Panzeroli is going to get an easy time here by him. I sometimes see a look at his games and, you know, sometimes I'm like, okay, this is a questionable choice. Why are you doing this? And other times he surprises you with really creative plays. So it's actually, I'm going to be quite curious for that. And then in Division 4, it's actually a lot of things happening. So Benoit won 2 games against Ponyboy, who is today also playing versus, I forgot the name once again. We need to double check, but I will need to. So, oh no, there we go. Versus Gebno, who has so far lost against Schneider Klaus. Schneider Klaus might be a name to some of you in the quick play. He's actively playing there, usually the same kind of divisions. So quite curious to see how he's doing in a tournament environment where he, you know, has to show a little bit more depth, maybe. But yeah, so he's won that game so far. He's played another one today. And maybe game 2 is ongoing. You could actually check that real quick, because if so, we could watch that. No, it is not. Actually, it is. Let's just watch that then. So Benoit is one of the French speakers in Roy's community. So I think we're going to see a lot more from him, because at least every time I check into the Discord, he's I think active there with Coding and Roy. So I think he's going to get a lot of you know, coaching and help by those two, which definitely helps a lot. So let's take a look at this game, and then we can maybe do a little speed run, and then when the other guys are finished with the picks and bans, we can switch over to those. That's actually the way to go. But it was not a strong showing from me this tournament, sadly. None of the games were steamrollers, though. I mean, it's a good start, you know. But yeah, I've watched some of your games. I have not watched them like in super like a lot of detail, so I'm not going to comment on it too much. But I definitely do feel like you've generally made some very strong plays, and then just didn't really follow up well. I think at least the one that I've seen against Rago Tango kind of looked that way. The one on Slutsk in particular. That being said, you had the bad side of the map. That was definitely an issue. But I think it just, yeah, gave away a lot of opportunities there. I mean, if you want, we can take a look at it someday, but not today, not this weekend in general. But you know, from what I've seen so far, I think part of the openers at least were actually quite good, and you know, that's already determining points. So if you get the opener right, then already have a lot of the pressure that, you know, there's already a lot of pressure you can take off your shoulders that way. This is something that, for example, I'm really terrible at. So if you watch any of my games, you often see that I screw up the open, and then you really have to work hard to get back. Hello, Yepaza. Nice to have you here. So we're watching at the moment Gimno versus Benoit, while we're waiting for Gascot to finish his picks and bans. And yeah, I think we're probably just going to watch this game in full, and then we switch to the other one. Unless it's super short, but, you know, hopefully not. Then we can watch game 2. Choreographed openers are as strong as you don't mind. Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen... What was it? No, that was not one of your games, or was it? No, I think I just checked in yesterday for a brief moment where I think you're playing on Chechen as well. I think that was you, right? Versus... Hold on. Let me find the picture again. Because I definitely remember seeing that. Yeah. It was... Hold on, no. No, that was not you then. Never mind. But I've seen the CS one on Slutskin. I think there was... There's a lot of your opportunities that were really missed, fortunately. But once the game is underway, things get more difficult. Let's game 2 was regular. Oh no, then I was right, yeah. And that looked actually really good for quite a while until it didn't. So if I were you, I would really analyze that very closely, because you seem to be doing quite well, and until something happened, and I've not really paid that much attention. I was just watching it on higher speed while I was doing other stuff next by. So, you know, so just from, you know, watching at the development of how your push was going, how much forces you had, and then how everything sort of collapsed all of a sudden, this is definitely something you want to look at very closely, because I think if you could avoid that, there was actually a realistic chance that you could have won that. Because as my opinion are among the worst in Division 1, still somehow can get good games. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm very much in the same boat as you in that regard. My openers are usually quite bad. This is still, I think, by far the weakest part of any of my games. It cost me so many games too. This is also why I struggle so much when I play against people like Kurt, but it's not just him. Like any player who has very good, strong openers, because I just usually cannot hold. And I cannot really take ground very well and then keep it. I would say this is actually, you know, for me, this is part of the opener. You have to, when you plan your opening, you have to have an idea in mind of how you want to secure it afterwards. So the first, either you bring the right tools for that in your opener or in the first minute or two. And for me, this is just always horrible. So, like I said. All right, we can take a look at what this is going to be. So I have, yeah, I was going to say, this is probably third mechanized, which is a very strong division for this particular map. It suffers a little bit at 2k, but this is something you can work around by, you know, pressuring the town a lot. Get some ground over here. Now, over here, we do have, it looks like 20th Panzer to me. Yeah, definitely. The Geo is pretty much a giveaway, but I've only seen the F1 and the Panzer III. There's a high chance, not guaranteed, but it's a very high chance. So this is also quite a powerful tool. I think it takes a little bit away from the 2k issue, since there's basically the IS-2. It's technically the PaK 43s, but I'm not so sure that Benito would take them. This matchup, I wouldn't. I know that. And it might be a mistake. It really might actually be. I think you can get away with it. Because as we can blame attack power for this. For what do you mean? For the opener? I mean, I definitely learned watching attack power, so it's definitely partially true in my case. Although I feel like attack power as a balanced main, I think he kind of has this figured out, how to do the openers in a defensive way, because I don't actually remember about how good or bad he was. Just pointing this out, I think he must have figured it out to some extent, because otherwise you have a hard time as balance, although sometimes you did have a hard time on balance. Hi, just we are watching Beamed by Chivers versus Benito, so I think this is Gepno versus Benito. Now, we do see the Cobra coming in strong here, and also getting the kill. I think there's a major mistake about Benito. Well, not a major. It's a small, cheap plane. But still, he could have actually gotten value out of it by calling it back when the plane was already out. Like, he would not have survived it anyway. But there was a real chance of at least being able to bomb this or this. So you want to spot with it, and then you want to start immediately doing some work. Oh, this is actually quite dangerous. It's a perfect mistake getting close here to machine gun. If he doesn't make the mistake of walking through this side, but keeps on hopping through the buildings, that's going to be a massive, massive kill right here. Oh, Salafin is here, I think. It does just shows the picture, doesn't show the name. You have good work with the Steel Division community, and I hope this donation will help to keep playing every division series going until you play every division. Thank you so much. It's really, really kind of you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. I do my best to keep it going. I mean, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, so. And I guess now, even if I do plan on doing it, I have to finish every division. You can, oh no, you're in the Discord anyway, I think, so you've already seen the good news. So for those of you who are not in the Discord, you missed something, but next week there's going to be some interesting new touch to the Playing Every Division series, let's put it at that. Hi Mamil, nice to have you here. Now over here it looks like Beam Bachibas is going a little bit too deep outside of the woods with his CQC units. And it's actually in, I think, quite a problematic situation right here. As, yeah, he has a flag here, but he's losing the hill, and he doesn't really have much here to support and reinforce it. So that actually means that he's going to lose that flag relatively soon as well. The 20 mil is doing something. Of course, the armor can't really push further forward because this 3 will stop that otherwise. What is it in here? Oh, yeah, here. I was going to talk about that. Sorry, I was busy reading chat, but not really reading it, that focusing on the map. It's not that easy. So over here we had a Panzergren trying to get a little bit too deep into the woods, which, yeah, you shouldn't do with Panzergren, and that actually cost Benito 2 flags, which is not a massive, it's not a big deal because he can fix that. He can get back in here. 7-1 unit in. There's no move so far by Bimka or J87 going down up north. P39 getting the kill. Trying to loop around, but it's going to fly over the flag 43. No, it does not. Ooh. Let's see. So, Plebiscite Saperi PPSH are low-key the most fun basics of it. It's incredibly powerful. Oh, this one is turning away. Should be safe from the flag 43, but the Chio is going to get in and get a bomb loadout off. This one fails to kill the Ju-87. And I think it's probably time for Beam Jibas to bring in AA now himself, just to deal with those Ju-87s and the Chios, since now there's AA, the P-49s are not going to be a reliable AA piece anymore. Hello, SBG Wano, nice to have you here. Hello, Minivan Clan. Welcome to today's stream. So we're going to be watching Beam by Chippers versus Benito today. I was planning on doing Gusgod versus Panzerlorry, but they were not ready yet, so we're going to watch these two instead. At the moment, there's a lot of flags, but not a lot of actual ground held by Beam by Chippers, so that could switch very, very soon. Now, over here, we kind of have the same situation and same thing up here, really. The flag almost falling, but it's just the one Stostrup. So it's a very interesting front line here at the moment. It looks like the Pack 30, the CIS 3 did die. So now, all of a sudden, the Panzer 3, the Panzer 4 did die as well, by the way. Can do some work again. We do have some Partisani coming, Cavada DP. Problem is the Panzer 3 is also there. And that's going to be quite annoying. Valentine Camarotti is coming in, but it's going to take a while for that to come in and do something. I think this is the one with the worst gun, which can still pen the Panzer 3, but the problem here is also the range, so the Panzer 3 would just kill that at range. We do see an MCHA. I was going to say, maybe he did not actually take any MCHAs in Avis, which would have been a big mistake because you need something that is faster than the Valentine, because the Valentine is just painfully slow. And obviously, you do want to have something that can actually support your infantry properly. Oh, but it's only going to get a little bit too close. It's going to load though. We have a nice Valentine Camarotti leadership bonus over here. And the Panzer 3 can actually sometimes be quite effective against the Valentine, but it's one of the better tools around, I would argue, just because of the price. It's still going to get killed by the Valentine in a pure 1v1. That's just hard to avoid this. But at least it is cheap. And it has some good baseline pen. Better than the Sherman. So there's that. Also, if you can double vet them, at least going to get a decent rate of fire. It looks like the Valentine lead is actually going to get in. And that means you can actually do something. Another Valentine is coming in, but again, that's just too slow. This is why relying only on them is a little bit problematic. Partisan DP forcing off the Panzergren. Another one is being redirected to this, which is a smart choice. You do want to keep this flag, obviously. Minimum classes, I'm guessing Benito first pick. Maybe, I have actually no idea. Both of these are solid first picks for this map, in my opinion. Third, maybe a little bit trickier because you can get outranged by 2k, but you can definitely play around that somewhat nicely. Jerry's back in, so is the P39, but again, this is where you definitely do need EA, because the P39 might get forced. Well, it can force off the Chio. The problem is going to be... the problem is going to be when the J87 are coming in base, and the P39 is going to get forced off easily. So this is what is going to be tricky. Seems like we need to teach Benito. Why do you mean, Mimil? Oh, the I know what you mean, yeah. Yeah. But I do have to... I mean, you are... I think you're actually teaching him in... You Roy, or Koenig, teaching him sometimes, because I always see you guys in Roy's Discord. Never join because I cannot really speak French well enough anymore these days to, to really have a chat with you guys. It's coming with the Chio again, which is... Now that the P39 has died, which is a huge kill, by the way, for Benito, it should be safe. And again, he's staying close to the AA. So that should work. And this is again why I say Beam by Chibbers should start bringing his AA. Because you cannot ignore this. And once your opponent has AA himself, you cannot rely on your fighters either. And by that point, you definitely do need to do something. It kind of sucks, of course, since it's a cheap lane, but you do need to react it, because otherwise your opponent's going to do a lot of damage, and it's still a cheap lane, which is not really going to make things any better. Over here, though, the flag solution is fixed quite soon. Roy says, hello, Roy, by the way. Koenig and sometimes me are giving you advice. I suspect we're going to have a lot of good French-speaking players very, very soon. Since you know, you guys are doing a good job teaching them. Oh, not a Geo coming in. See, this is the problem. I think the problem is... Now, Benito's falling kind of in the trap here, in my opinion, by maybe buying a little bit too many of those. But I think it's going to work out, because Bimba Chibis is not reacting to it at all. So... I was okay with the P39 coming in first, because it looked like he wanted to use it for this. And if he keeps on using them as attack planes, it's actually perfectly fine. So, you know, using those for fighter duty as well definitely makes sense, especially against a target that's easy to kill like the Chio. But at some point, again, at some point you have to start bringing some AA. And there's another one coming in. Wow. You also cannot forget that these things reload quite fast, so it's possible that this is not a new one, but one that was just out very recently. Against those, just the 50 cal half-tracks actually would do, but there's none, so... Okay, Dushka... Does anyone know this? It's a Dushka, so it should be able to shoot as well at planes, right? Can I do that? I've never actually paid attention to it. It looks like Beam by Chibber is definitely taking the town here, and there's not really any surprise here, because, oh no. If he's... Is he focusing one plane? No, so both of them are going to survive, because the Flag 43 is going to switch to the other one, most likely. Oh no, it stays with that one. See? No, it's going after that one. They're going to survive. I was going to say, if he targets a Chio, he's going to be dead, but he did not. It's going to work. As a Dushka can do it as well. Thank you. Platypus Bill, thank you very much. Oh, Valentine here. Now, versus a Panzer III and a Marder, it won't do. But, well, I think this one counts as light tank anyway. But it can definitely do damage. No, apparently it does not. Unless it was the APCR. No, it wasn't. So, right, yeah. It does count as medium tank then. It really got damaged, which is not the most dangerous tool here. Although, you know, doing some damage with one of these and then shooting with the Gorilla will do damage as well, that I can actually kill it too. Over here, things have equaled out a little bit. The Panzerrack is maybe a little bit too far forward, but we have a lot of Partisan DP now out. And these are quite decent. You know, just look at them. Like, SVTs are always nice to have, and I think that helps at least offsetting the DP's weakness. And then you have an MG34. Still not as good as the Pentagram, but it's also only 25 points, so you can hardly complain about it. There we go, another Chio, and still no AA coming. A rows of Valentines. Now, it doesn't look like Benito is bringing any 287 AT planes, or at least has not used them so far. And he has struggled with some of the Valentines up north, very clearly. So... maybe this is a safe move, but if you bring in this many tanks and you're already getting ass, but you do absolutely want to bring AA, because otherwise your tanks are going to soon fall as well. So at the moment, it definitely looks like Beam by Chibbers, at least for me personally, I would say, is, you know, having the upper hand here. But if he continues to ignore the air spam by Benito, he will lose this game, and there's not going to be a debate. Like, this is very clear here. Finally, we do see 37 mil coming in. Hello, Dragatango, then poor Benito getting swarmed by Valentine's. It is a feeling that is not very nice. One of the reasons why I always ban this division, even if I think there's maybe counters available, and I still don't know how to counter it best. It's just it's fundamentally unfun to play against Valentine's. We do have an off map up north and some units at the ready, so this is how you're supposed to do it. How much it's actually going to do against the Valentine blob, I don't know. It's a 220s. It should do damage. I've never really used the off-map much in 20s because I don't play 20s all that often. It's usually banned anyway, and I haven't really played it in a long time as well, so I don't actually know you know, and back before that, I had my learning from Attack Power, which is do not use off map, which I've definitely changed my opinion on that because you have to start using it at some point. It can really make your life a lot easier, and obviously your opponent's life much harder and less fun. They not play 20th Panzer. Look, I would Memil, but it's very often banned, and I'm just not familiar enough with the division because I never played, because it's always banned. User has to stomach his tanks looking like cockroaches. That's the one downside. I don't know. That's a small price to pay to me. Zarek is running Memil 1v1. Let's go. Why is 20 Panzer so low? Yep, classic. But that definitely should be some infantry coming in here as well now, and some support tools. Just like a machine gun, something like that up here, and then some unit in here would give 2 flags back to Benito, to Bimba Chibus, and that would continue the tick. If you can actually close this as well, that would be the 59 that he could get right now if... Yeah, there we go. We have Aftos coming in though, which is I think a bit of a waste here since they're not actually needed up here. He needs something at range, unless he plans for to allow his opponent to actually come up here. Now we do have the blob of Valentines coming. If those all together push up, I don't think that these will stand a chance here. This one alone pushing through over here will get obliterated by the Marder if it gets like into line of sight. Out of range. A very important part there. P-39s are coming in up north, and up north there's no area yet. I think Benito kind of making the same mistake, but for him it's not as problematic because he's so far, I think, inflicting more losses with his air spam than he takes. Ooh, Marder being targeted. And these things, they can do damage. It's a bit of hit or miss. It really depends on how the rockets land. Again, soft targets are actually quite good. I definitely, when I first saw this unit, I didn't really look much at it because these rockets, especially Soviets, are usually very underwhelming, but this one in particular is actually quite good. And you sometimes see deleting tanks. I would not have been surprised if that Marder dies. Next wave of off-map coming in, but this time there's not that many units ready here. And the important thing here is that some of these tanks are likely slightly damaged, even if you might not see. So the T-34s could potentially have a go at them. There's a new row of Valentines coming in. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, Shumpai did get in, but Design is going to get flamed. And there's a blob of Valentines, but they're not doing anything. I mean, truthfully, there should be a recon here anyway to spot for it before they move, even though there's a Valentine recon there, but it would be preferable, but we don't see that so far. With Panzerschreck coming in now. Okay, that makes more sense. I was thinking what's going on over there. 75 is maybe a little bit lost out here on its own, without any support, and maybe a little bit too close as well. Off-map's going down, army's forced back again. The question is going to be, will Benito push before the Valentines arrive or not? We do see a row of Sturmpires and Panzergrens coming in, swarming the area too. And there's not that much Seeks here, actually. So the typical defense of those, which you could definitely use there, are not nowhere to be seen. Do you have an off-map coming in on Benito's side, though? So he's trying to return the favors. I do not think... on Bimba Chiba's side. So I don't think Benito's Gainser will last. Looks like the Krille and the Marder did go down, and so did the Panzer III. The one gun jammed on a Valentine, the recon one was lost, and I have a feeling there was another one, right? Was there? There was one. So it's 2 Valentines lost. Including 1 recon one. But we had a 20 mil would be, the 50 mil would be ready, as well as a lot of infantry. So I think a push would definitely be realistic here at some point. I was going to comment, and here we go. We do see some artillery now by Benito. This is obviously one of the massive advantages that his division has over Third Mechanized. Third Mechanized doesn't really have that much artillery. You basically have the off-map, and then you have some F-22s or CIS-3s if you like them. Neither of them, you know, well, both are useful. Neither of them are going to be a massively powerful tool. So if you can turn it into a long grindy game against Third Mechanized and not lose too many tanks to the Valentines, it can actually be quite rough for Third at some times. Tank says the amount of Valentines on this map is really disgusting. Yeah, but probably be able to capture at least left. Maybe get on the hill easier. I don't remember what this was about. Purchased Prince Valentine's for eternity. Yeah, really. It definitely looks like it. Cherry's coming up north as well, again, where there is... Oh, this off-map's going to hurt. And the blob of Valentine's is about to arrive, so the T-34 will probably be history. the infantry as well. The question is just, does Beam Bachibas actually follow up? I think Beam Bachibas is actually putting a lot of resources in. We have another Valentine and T-30-45, whereas over here, like, he has plenty of forces here, especially with the off-map. He doesn't actually need to reinforce it, but I think he doesn't realize it. Whereas over here, he could actually take much more. This game is still very much dominated by Beam Bachibas, really. It's just, at the moment, he can't translate that into 15-9, which he could definitely do. It's really more a matter of the investments into right areas. And the moment he's like focusing on this very hard, but not really seeing opportunities over here. And he could definitely get a flag here. That would be it. He could get, like, he's so close to get the 59 in terms of map advantage. There's massive force here. At the moment, though, Benito's actually playing right into his hands. Benito could definitely try to get some more work done over here and try to, you know, just win the fight over this, which can offset his losses in the town area. But I think him actually reinforcing the town and continue to try and push this is really good for Beam Bachibas because he has more forces here. And he has the right kind of units over the Valentines. So Benito, I think, even though he had some success with his off-map, he's just losing over here because he's fighting a fight in a place where he is naturally disadvantaged. Whereas at the, you know, at this ranges, he definitely has an angle of getting back in, especially with artillery support, clearing off some of these forest patches. And then if he can lock down the open from up here, that would be actually wonderful for him. 2 150s and might get overrun. Possible, yeah. P39 is coming in for the hill now. Oh, the 50 mil is out of ammo. Yeah, that should be the end of these, but there's no follow-up at the moment. There's still something up here, but if the After can recover, he can actually push into this. There's no line infantry over there. Looks like the poor, lonely Valentine got killed off by the Martyrs. We do have more 50 mil mortars coming in, and the Sis-2. The Sis-2 is definitely a nice tool over here, but yeah, I think he needs to reinforce this with another one if he wants to have a chance here. The machine gun is also there. The Cobra definitely needs to be recalled back. Now we have the Su-76s as well. Yeah, this is definitely a massive overinvestment, unless Beam Bachibas actually decides to push all the way. Like he needs to use his opportunities though to actually, well, he's moving, so that's good because he needs to kill this off, and then he wants to get in here and this flag as well, because otherwise this is not going to pay off this investment. There we go. We do actually have Ju-87s, and there is AA now though. It is going after. Oh, there's 2. Yeah, might actually kill the Ju-87 this time. One of them is going to go down, pretty sure. This one probably because of how far it flies over it. This one flew a little bit too deep into the flag 43 as well. Looks like it's going to survive though. So Benito has saved up, but this is the problem. If you start air spamming and then you force your opponents to buy lots of these, eventually he is going to buy AA. It took him quite a while. It really did. But yeah, eventually Beam Bachibas did it, and now Benito all of a sudden is in a position where where he invested a lot in his air, and instead of reinforcing the front line, and now his airstrike failed. So what is he going to do? I think it's going to be in some rough times here, in some trouble. Rough times coming ahead. After he's pushing forward up close against the Pantagran, and the Valentines are still numerous over here, and the T-34 died. There's 3 more coming in, but I don't think that is going to make the difference here. Valentine is readjusting, not sure to what. Definitely going to run into T-34 very soon. Another off-map being dropped here. The 150s are doing some work, but I have some serious doubt it's going to be enough. And the P-39 turns just at the right time to avoid the flag 43. Now there's an STKF Z71 in, so no airstrikes over here anymore. Or if there are, there's not going to be many more airstrikes left to come. 15-9 now for Beam Bachibas, as we kind of expected. The off-map is coming in, so that's probably going to be another one. One of the Valentines finally dead, but so is not a T-34. Not a T-34 is going to get picked out here by the T-30-45. And that's not going to look very good. This one might lose line of sight very soon, but the Valentine is already on it. And this range, I think the Valentine is still going to be advantaged. Although maybe not, actually. Never mind, there goes the kill. Off-map going down. The Shrimp is actually not affected by off-map. It's a little bit of a problem. It looks like one of the flag 40... no, it's not a flag. One of the 37 mils just died to the 150. 150 is actually somewhat close here, which means it should be quite effective. There's another GO coming in for the center, but this time there's a flag 37 here as well. Only one though, so over here airstrikes might still be on the menu, but at least over here, unless he does a wave attack again, probably not. And over here, definitely not anymore. Although there's only one of these left, but he doesn't know that yet. Is this coming in? Beam is just, again, reinforcing this way too heavily. It's like, says two... If you take this and then put it like somewhere over here to watch down the road, that makes a lot of sense. But at the moment in a town, it doesn't need as plenty of Valentines and SU-76s as well. Again, I think it is a, you know, just a little bit of what do you call it? When you just focus on one thing and kind of lose a line of sight on the others. I forgot the name. Anyway, it will come back. It will come back. It's definitely doing that at the moment. Now over here, the artillery is doing some work, pinning the partisan DP. Tunnel vision. Thank you, Roy. This is what I was looking for. 50 mils are... Well, I don't think the 50 mils need to respond to this anymore, but they should definitely respond to this now. After pinning both things. Yeah, I mean, you can actually tell that it's not in here because your next unit to the front line, if you ignore the after that just moved in, is right here. And the front line is next to the building. So it's definitely not possible for anything to be in that building. Now, here's the thing. If they actually move close, the 50 mils will just easily kill it. And they will just pin it this way. And the Guevaras can move in. Definitely safe use. Although the Chio is probably going after them now. Oh, something over here shooting at it. Oh, it was the Marder. Kind of looked like something was from over there, but there's not. Or the Chio might actually not be able to go after the 50 mils, as it's going to get forced off by the Flak 30, by the 37 mil. Yeah, there we go. Oh, the 150 is added though. Not before they pin both Panzergrans. Now they're both pinned, but it doesn't matter. They could actually just drive up now and surrender probably. There we go. 59 once again. And Benito's just really is holding on for dear life, but it's very close. Again, I think his only chance, this kind of looks to me like it's over, but his only chance is that he's losing the 15-9 again. Because Beam Budget is a little bit too slow to actually profit off his boost. I mean, you can see this. He got so many good trades. There's a massive force, but he's not actually using it. There's basically nothing here left. But, you know, this is something that comes with experience, that you kind of get a feeling at some point what your opponent is actually doing and how strong he is and how well you've traded. And then you actually know when you can just brute force your way. This is one of the moments where you can just Q-move everything here. Meister has 2 not used. What's going on? Did he kill it? No, it was not actually used at all. Oh, Valdans have never been moved, and Shades 87's actually managed to get some kills in here as well. So that's this flag gone for the time being. I don't think it's going to come back anytime soon. And again, Beamerchip is just, like, he has a massive force. He invested so much here. He's not actually following up. Meanwhile, over here, he's not doing anything either. And it's really costing him. I still don't think it's costing him the game. But if he stays on the 14-10 too long, and with the artillery blasting away by Benito, eventually Benito could come back. I do not think in this particular case now it is actually realistic, because look at the forces. Benito has basically nothing left, so it's not really realistic. But if he had just a little bit more left, I think it would actually be quite a serious risk here. 50 mils are at it again. Now there's 3 of them. Holy moly! I mean, this must feel like wow. Oh, the Afto is at the edge of the forest, gonna get caught out by the Panzergren and fall, which would be quite useful, like, back here to hold the forest. It's trying to do that, but with 2 health, I think they might actually be able to just kill it eventually, 2 of them together. And you know, significant losses on their own, but I think it should be possible. 50 mils are blasting away defensively once again. One Guevardia is being pinned, but the other one not. This Panzergren, though, might actually recover in time now. Oh, yeah, this push is gonna get stopped immediately after you can just move in and surrender them, maybe do a little bit of pinning before it finally... Yeah, there we go. Tunnel vision. Yes, absolutely. That's what you mean. Yeah, Roy already brought it up. But yeah, this is the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, both of you. 2 more TOs coming in. The Flak 30... not always want to say Flak 30, but it's the Soviet 37 mil. The Sen Art is not really in the right position to stop anything. Oh no, I was going to say he called both of them off, but he only called one of them off. Yafto's still alive though. Could do some work here. But Guevara is getting stopped by the 150, and looks like Guevara here getting pushed off. And it's back to 13-11 once again. it really feels like the fight is only, you know, evolving around this right here. And both players just kind of ignoring it. Benito is again, for Benito it's perfect. He's happy to just not do any fighting over here because he's not in a good position to fight. But Beam Cheapers has so many units, is not actually moving it. Like, he bought the off-map and he didn't actually push for the flag, which is a very weird call. He off-mapped this, and he off-mapped this, and he off-mapped this part again. Without actually getting anything. We do have the 82 mil in, by the way, which is a fun little unit. I think it's maybe decent for pinning, but definitely not at this distance. But I've not actually tried it myself. It looks horrible. So I'm not actually sure if it is useful for pinning, but if it is, you definitely want to use it relatively close. Oh, there's a lot of units in here. 2 panzer guns will not win that, despite most of these being divided DPs. But, you know, 1 PPSH and some Mosin is still going to be better than 1 MP40 and some Car 98s at the end of the day. You get to 12 well, see Benito stabilized with hardly any forces. But this is just an interesting observation that, so no shame on any of those, just an observation I'm making also from watching the beginners tournament. A lot of newer player definitely have a tendency to just be very passive, and I think this is what we see here as well. So it's just a very common thing. It's also about what you see with those players from the beginners tournament, for example, that did quite well. Those were mostly the ones that actually didn't do that, who were rather aggressive and you know, overly aggressive, but you know, they were looking for opportunities. They're looking for wins, for angles to win a fight. Sense coming into pin. This is definitely, so this is always a bad sign if you have to resort to this. Although sometimes, you know, sometimes it is just the only tool you have and you can get massive wins, but in this case, definitely a sign of desperation, as it's the only tool he has to try and prevent Bimbachibas from getting this flag. B39 flying a little bit too close to the flag, to the SXZ-1, might actually go down. If it's not this one, then probably that one, although it's turning away from the SXZ-1, so it might get away. The flag 43 is not in the best position to continue shooting at it, and neither SXZ-1. I think they're both going to survive, but it could have been a loss of 2 planes, actually, if this went just a little bit different. Marder is dominating over here once again. MG42 trying to dismantle that SIS-2, which took out the Marder, is now pushing forward, which not very healthy against an MG42. It's actually low in health too, so it could die very easily. We do have, there's yet another Valentine coming in, a leader this time. I was going to comment on, there's no more Valentines coming. It looks like Bimbachibas is out, but no, he is not. He would definitely need something else to fight over this now. Because at the moment, and we see it right here, Benito can actually easily bring in some more armor. And the Grille, combined with the Panzer IV, can actually do a lot of work. There's not really all that much I can test it. Marder did go down to the Gavadia's AT grenade. Spicy. Now, we do see now a small push. Panzer III versus some SC-76s. But no, in this case, the APCR was turned off. You should get the kill when, if the Panzer Grand falls, this will be this flag as well. The 150 is out of ammo. This one is, or soon, this one is running low as well. Supplies are coming in though. The AFTO is being focused right here. The 82 mil is being used to pin, actually to some effect. If this one is also pinned, we should see an angle for the AFTO for moving in, unless it's going to get pinned by the other strike. No, it does not. Is it going to move now? That's going to be the big question. Doesn't look like it, which also means the 150 is probably, you know, it refocused. Oh, this is a new one. It's an SK-18 as well. This 150 focusing on the AFTO still. We'll probably get it. Yeah, this is definitely, I think, not the time to buy more artillery. I get the concept. He's in a rough spot, so he wants to soften things up to get in. But he needs frontline pressure. Now, this flag has fallen. This one is about to follow. The off-map just went down in a massive boom. Oh, that was the Alpha. I was going to say, what did that? But that makes a lot more sense now. And there's only a handful of reinforcements coming. This swing should definitely show Bimbachibas how strong he is, actually, in relation to Benito over here. So, yeah, I think he's noticed. He's definitely moving forward now. He's realized what strong position he has, and Benito does surrender. 45 points, not bad at pinning. Yeah, I think for pinning it's okay. It's kind of like a little mini off-map for a small forest patch or something like that. But as proper artillery, you don't want to use it. Yeah, we do see 1,000 points difference in trades. And then there's obviously the somewhat larger air force of Benito as well. That exists too. and was not really effective at the end. So there's definitely a noticeable difference as well. But it was an interesting game, a very strong show here by Gibbous, though, showing especially the effectiveness of Valentine's once again. Yeah, I think, as we said, or as I said earlier, I definitely think Benito could have changed things around, but it just focused too much on trying to fight over the town, which is not really. It's just not where you want to fight third. This is where third is so powerful, and while 20th Panzer has a lot of good tools there as well, unless you're Memil, maybe. I just don't think 20th really wants to take that fight. If you can take control over the hills, which, you have plenty of, you have a decent amount of CQC in 20th as well, and these days the Shrimp Eye really isn't that bad anymore either. You actually have an angle of taking it and then using the range as an advantage, which I think is massive here as well. But yeah, when we can look at the chronology, there's definitely, the opener was definitely going well for Benito at first, and then this was a little bit of a game changer here, because it also pinned the MG42 to some extent, but it didn't really change the grand scheme of things all that much in the valley. But then we see, the J87's coming in, the Chio's coming. It was, I think, too much air too early is what happened here. And then we had the off map, but he wasn't really able to capitalize because of how strong Beam by Chippers was there. It just continues on like this. Then there's a Rose of Valentine's doing Valentine things. So Lofrin says this map is very dependent on the first dominance. Yeah, definitely. Although I think you definitely have comeback chances, but I agree with you to a large extent that if you get in a dominating position first, I think you're generally well set, which is true for a lot of maps, really. Like, it's just a channel thing if you get a good start, but I think this one is a little bit harder to come back than a lot of other maps. I would definitely agree with you there. Now, in terms of units that did well, the Cobra did do some good work. Valentine, not a Valentine. Partisan and DP actually getting some good wins, but I'm not sure how much of those were actual 1-in-1 fights and how much was units pinned by 50 mils. Not a Valentine. An AFTO, which is a rare sight here. Nice to 76 as well. Look at that go. And that's about it. On the other side, the 45 mil actually did a lot of killing of non-tank units. Then there's a lot of units that didn't do that much. One of the Panzer III's, Bullets and Valentines, did that quite well. Like, there was one in the center, and the Marder doing some work. The off map, I think, probably being the one unit that did the most damage here. Not a Marder. Interestingly, not doing that much against tanks, and that's about it. All right, I think we're not going to wait too long and hop into the next game. They have deployed about 20 minutes ago. So Starduck versus Memil, I think, is just a practice game. So we're going to leave these two in peace. It is Slutsk, Lissar, Maverick versus 29th Tank Who Balanced. Yeah. So I'm really wondering who picked first. Now, Lissar, I think, is one of the divisions that Panzerloli, is kind of, an indicator in his name of what he likes to do. I think can play quite well. 29th is a bit of a problem here. And Minivan Clan has already pointed out 29th will suffer. So the problem with 29th here is that it's a very, very, very good, so let's just skip ahead a little bit until the game actually starts. It's a very, very powerful division on mid to long range map to counter some of the Western allies. Not so much versus Axis, because at the end of the day, Axis does have a lot of cool tools that they can use to, bully this division a little bit. There is some advantages that 29th has. This is mostly when it comes to the IS-2. However, on this particular map, while it can be quite powerful, unless you're on the blue side, it is also not the most powerful tool. Now, some of his armor, it has some of the leader Valentines. Against Panzerforce and the like up here in the closer areas, it can actually do some work. And again, the IS-2, if it is out, will dominate. However, on this map, you have to be very, very careful with how you use it, because once the Panther Chi is out, and if Panzeroli is smart, he takes that one. There's a lot of places here where you can actually get in a 1750 meter range. And then with its APCR, it can actually kill the IS-2. So it's a very serious risk here for 29th. Now, I do see a lot of fools in. I do have a feeling. So I saw Goscott pulling this off against the Paza once and winning. And I don't think I have to replay anymore, because I actually wanted to make a strategy talk out of this one dedicated on Russian strong openers. But I'm just not good enough myself on this. So I didn't actually do it. But I think Goscott is going to... Yeah, he's doing this. He pulled it off against Mil ones really successfully. It is not an easy one to pull off. It's very risky. I think that's the bigger part here. You really have to count on your opponent not being able to react well, and it's a very it's all rush, no hold. So you really don't have much of a defense, and if it fails, you see yourself losing the game within minutes. So it's very high risk. It can pay off massively if your opponent doesn't know how to deal with it and actually plays into your hand. And I've seen this again. Like a good player like Hipaza actually did this. He failed to react properly. And it worked out perfectly. Now the Flamer here can definitely stop that. The move here would be just, as I was going to say, the move here would definitely be just to rush through, because the Flamer can't deal with that many units. But this could collapse the bubble, and that would be problematic. Over here, units are coming in, though. It's one a little bit slow. That's quite interesting. It should actually be able to get... Oh, well, no, it tries to get in there. In here, you can actually get quite fast. This leader here, I think, is going to save Panzerlorry here, because it will make it so that this front line doesn't collapse. Otherwise, we would see a surrounding here. This bubble collapses. The end. Now he can actually do the other way around if this here gets killed off. But you have a tank block here. We do have a T-3045, interesting enough. So that at the moment can definitely throw some punches. We do see some movement forward, but there's a nice defensive deployment here. The tanker definitely needs to be careful not to go too far forward, and this thing would need to move a little bit further forward. Over here, SU-57 and the 76 mil were just enough to hold. Over here we do have the Sturm Grenadier being targeted by the LA-5. This is the one thing here that is hard to get. No, it's going after the Panzerschreck. Goscott has spotted it. It's going strategically after this, because now the half-track can do the work, although this thing is still here as well. Rosvetska could definitely deal with it, but... Oh no, it won against the Panzergren. This half-track is pinning. If the Rosvetska moves forward, if this moves too close, it can actually die here. And there we go. Reaction is coming. A lot of units for a very small push. This flag, although, already about to fall. But it might have bought Goscott the needed time. Over here, we do have a Pack 38, which can be problematic. Stück versus T-34 incoming. Not sure that that's going to go. At the range, the T-34 has the advantage. Well, it always has the advantage, but the closer you get, the worse the fight actually is, because the Stück will have a decent chance of penning. And you're just having a high risk of losing a unit in a fight that you don't want. That, is a downtrade for you as well. If more Superior PPSH coming in, well, if he just wants it so that he has something defensive here, I get the concept. Oh, there we go. One pen for the T-3045. Can he get another one before the Stück can pen it? Stück failed to pen. T-34 failed to hit. Stück gets another shot off. Gets a pen. T-34 gets a pen. Stück is down. That's a huge win right down. Over here, it immediately gets broken down. Yeah. He lost the kind of tools he needs in here, like the SS-76, to actually reinforce this properly. Oh, if he doesn't... No, it's not showing so. I was going to say, this could actually be quite dangerous. This thing, if it gets a side shot, could be quite devastating. Reinforcements are coming in. A lot of information here for Panzer, which certainly helps him with this. No denying that. Tanko did come in. The leader is still there, but and one Panzergren Lassar is just holding this off, which is actually quite annoying for Goscott. He's not actually profiting from it in any way. IH-18 is fighting 76.2 mil over here. On a Tanko sitting there ready to wait. Goscott definitely needs to do something about this. He's coming in with 225 mils, maybe a little bit too much. But he can do the trick. Also, Goscott is on balance versus Panzeroli is on Maverick. This is probably not a good sign here, because for Goscott, because he's going in again with the kind of all or nothing play, which if you can immediately follow up in B phase with Maverick, works actually quite well. But if you have to hold long for balanced, you really have to reinforce quite well and quite quickly early on. But it's especially also a problem because Gasco got the bad side of the map, and that is just a lot rougher to play on this side. So For's actually doing quite well considering this fact, but I'm not so sure if it's going to be enough to save him. The 45 will move in a nice position, is pulling the pack 38 at the moment. Volksdeutsche trying to get in. The Tanko can bully that a little bit. Recon plane did get killed off, and the LA5's going after the edge. It was definitely the bigger threat right here. Oh, this is actually quite problematic up close. That can definitely do some work. Although the Tanko should be able to beat it. It's just... No, it's hidden in the forest there nicely. 45 mil. It's getting engaged now. Now, Half-Track should probably move up and engage too now. Although the Panzer IV is about to arrive. Not sure how well that's going to go. Gasco's making a lot of pressure over here, though. And he did get this flag. So on the 13-11 now, he doesn't really have the tools to deal with the Panzer IV at the moment. Which I think is a bigger problem for him. He definitely wants to secure this off now. What I see as a problem is there's still a superior PPSH in here. It still has 3 charges on its Panzerfaust. And it's definitely realistic that Panzeroli will try to do this, he will eventually try to retake this. He could face some severe losses here by running into that superior PPSH. That is definitely a realistic threat over here. At the moment it looks like he's, yeah, just trying to reinforce this. And this is absolutely the right play right here, because once you get this, you're in a very demanding position. This is just the best place for a blue side to push. Unless you're very good at town fighting, then you can take this, but he's not. M10 coming in. This is actually a really nice counter to the Panzer IV here, but the Panzer Pinilla side is going to be a bit of a problem over here. Definitely. Now this one can easily forced off. Su-57 needs to be careful because the Panzer IV is arriving and he can definitely do something about it. Gasco not really reinforcing this at all. Could come back to haunt him. There's reinforcing now with an M10 over here. Yeah, it's just not really... I think his problem at the moment is a recon situation. He doesn't actually know what's happening over here, so he's not aware of this only being one unit that snuck in. I think he's thinking that he's at risk of losing the hill, which at the moment is not the case yet. So he still has a chance. He just needs to take it. Oh, but this is actually a problem. Yeah. The Su-57 died. The 76 mil is falling back. No reinforcements coming in. The flag, just this massive swinging off the front that we're going to see here, will let know Panzerloid that he can actually push it, that he's safe to push. And I think that is... that. Unless Panzeroli makes some major mistakes, that can very realistically be the end of this game already. Because as it stands, Gascot is losing this part right here, which is really hard to come back into and you do want to avoid. But it's not that much of a problem if you have the hill. But Gascot is not actually reinforcing it, it's not trying to contest it at the moment, which means that Gascot might actually lose this and the hill, and that will add up to 3, 4, 5 flags that you down, and you just cannot compensate this with these 2 flags, one of which Gascot doesn't have at the moment. Now, if he actually gets in sideways on the hill here, he does have some pressure, but he needs to make sure not to lose this, because otherwise all this pressure here is not that strong, because it just get cut off from over here, and then it just cannot reinforce properly anymore. Is sending out, is rediverting the M10, there's a Maxim coming in, recon, no, oh, this is recon coming in here. It's actually a nice position, never used that. We're desperate and need some more defensive position. Kind of makes sense. Strelk SVT actually can defeat the Volksdeutsche up close, and the M10 can do some support, but not if the Strelk SVT gets sniped by the Panzer IV. Yeah, I think this is the risk that you're running into when you do this kind of very, very aggressive balls to the walls openers. It's an all or nothing kind of opener, and at the moment it looks like it's more nothing than all for Gascot. So he sent everything in, is getting nothing back for it, and I think it's going to cost him. Nicholas Fitty died, M10 died as well. Oh, did he really delete it? There's a massive crater in here. No, it missed. The Panzer IV did not. I mean, the Panzer IV was already, you know, facing this way. Oh, he got killed. Actually, never mind, I traded. But yeah, it's a bit of a problem for the M10, because there's a slow turret rotation. The Panzer IV was already facing that direction. So I actually really dislike the balance on this map, if I'm going to be honest with you. Because the more I play it, the more I feel like red is actually at more of a disadvantage than than you would think. Like, it really looks terrible to me. The more I play this map. But that is not Guscot's main problem at the moment. He would have had ample time to fix this, but he kind of got stuck in his push over here, which didn't really give him that much. And he was a little bit too happy, too fast, too quick to accept the loss of the hill. But now it comes with the loss of this too, and this is just, you cannot really come back from this very easily. Especially not if your opponent has Maverick income. This is what makes it so devastating. Guscot could maybe trade his way back in if he wasn't on balance. Balance versus Maverick here, I feel like Panzeroli can just reinforce this. He can make sure to take the rest here. And then what's Guscot going to do? There's just nothing he can do, actually. I actually should hide this. But yeah, I just don't see a way for him to get back in there. If you could, you know, secure this and then get nice to in a dominant position, like somewhere over here or in the open, and then get some pressure over here while not losing this, because this is, I think, where he still has an advantage over Lazar, at least with his armor, then things could be different. But I think at the very least, after this kind of failed, he should have redirected, but at the moment it doesn't look like it. Panzerol is just taking his time, nicely building up a push. He's not rushing it. He's not over-investing into stopping this. So it's looking very good for him, actually. Guscot still didn't actually clear this out. Yes, Strumgren did made sure to prevent that. And 10 is having to go with the Panzer Pianilla, but the Maximir can't really do enough against those infantry units. Kerb says, if Guscot stops the B phase 59 and by C phase IS2, he can win, but Bell is not a good way to play. Yeah, I would agree as well. And I think, again, as I said, I think it's very hard for him to actually stop the 15-9, because unless Panzeroli screws up heavily and doesn't reinforce this properly, Guscot will not really get in here, and this flag should fall relatively soon. We do have the two. I love this. This is such a nice combo, but I don't really see the follow-up. Maybe that's the follow-up, I guess. But this is maybe a little bit too slow, and now there's a Panzer IV up here, so it's a bit tricky. If you can still get in here and then in, it makes sense. Though, although he doesn't actually need it for this at the moment. For the town it would be quite useful, or for this. But he doesn't need it for up here. But you know, he doesn't know that, so this is a fair play. I'm just having some doubts about them having to go off-road first to get up there. A bit risky. But so far it's only the 1410. Panzeroli is, yeah, he's going for this now. And this is the biggest threat for Guscot at the moment. As I see it. Again, Guscot's best case scenario is Panzeroli kind of being happy with what he got here and trying to shift for a retake of this and then losing a lot of units to these two superb BPSH. I think this is something that could really help with a comeback. Oh, he's trying to force two things out at once. Actually, let's see how much they do pin if it's just a single one, because I know they're horrible. So I learned this from Avalza, the hard way actually, that you can actually stack them on top of each other. Then they're actually somewhat decent for only 80 points. It's not good, but it will pin. But one of them I don't think is going to do. Oh, did he take the slow rolling one? That can't have been it. So far, so not impressive. Recon's coming out again. They're still at 125 minutes. It's going to be enough to force off the recon plane. As XZ-1 is coming quite close here. Actually nice, so you can get some close range assistance. More reinforcements coming in. Including a Pack 40 up here, which is a quite nice position. Actually quite threatening for the M10 over there. Because it does pin the Panzer Pianilla. And the important question is, if there was other units around, it actually got a kill. Look at that. Impressive. And now here comes the move. Also following up with these for another one, which may be a little bit early, but actually like the idea. But now the Panzer IV proves to be a problem. Let's see if Guscot spots it in time. No, they're still moving. Might actually lose them. The M10 is now making him run for it, but or these are making him run for it. The M10 is trying to follow up, but It's going to be enough. I do not know. The off-map's still going on, not affecting the Panzer IV too much at the moment. Oh no, I was going still after the Perry. Woo! But one of them is still in its line of sight. No, it's surviving. I mean, it's not a lot of points, but still, it's an investment. Considering the situation, it's actually quite the investment. We do have a Boston in now, bombing the Panzer Grand Lazar. And the 3045 ADV Reshetnikov is there, and it's actually quite in a dominating position at the moment. The Panzer IV can change that, especially if it gets this close, because then the T-34 is still at an advantage, but it is going to be much, much easier for the Panzer IV to actually pen it and trade up to the T-34, which is one of the big problems. Oh yeah, the STX-71 is going to take that LA5, I assume. The tank actually did go down, but I assume that's probably to the M10, but it also got killed in return. Oh, and there we go, LA5 does go down. Big loss there for Gascard. He's holding up well at the moment. But it's also only 5 minutes of Maverick income, and the units will, as always, take some time to actually arrive at the front line. The 122 here is doing some good support, killing off the Pack 40. Well, not yet, but it will very soon. Actually lost line of sight. Weird. After might die to it then. Soon, at least. I think the situation is still not looking very good. There's hardly any armor support to hold against what is coming next by Panzerlordi, who's obviously going to bring tanks, as we could expect by his name. There's also Hummel in, up close, going after the 25mm. It's a bit of an overreact. Unless he really plans to start air spamming, I do not really see a reason to deal with that 25mm, to be honest. Not that big a deal at the end of the day. Recon Sherman coming in. There we go. T-34-85 did go down to the Panzer IV. Volksdeutsche pushing in. One of them might actually get too close as a pair. Both might actually get too close as a pair of stage. Zoop! But Panzer is paying attention. One of them gets unloaded. That's what holding this flag to recon alone won't really do much. And that's going to be... No, not the 59 yet, as this flag is also captured, but it's only bringing it to 3rd as Gasco got back in here. And this is reinforcing now. So this is still in the game. Is the M30 bugged? It has spent an eternity trying to go for the Pack 40. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Oh, the guerrillas found the M30. No! And this is what you get if you have no armor in the open. Or at least for this, if you have your 2K over there. Sherman coming in, but the Sherman, yeah, is nicely repositioning in a position where it can actually do something. Oh, this is way too risky. Although, you could actually get in here. Funny enough, there's nothing preventing him from doing so. He hasn't realized it yet. Well, actually, there is the Panzer IV over here. Never mind. Oh no, the Pack 40 over here. That's what did it. Not off map coming in. That's actually got to hurt if he had two of them in the same position, which doesn't look like he did. You definitely want to use them in pairs. Because while they can kill, they're not that good. And while they can pin, they're still not that good. It's so close to that's in one. Maybe he gets a lucky hit, but I kind of doubt it. But he doesn't really have a follow-up as well. It's kind of... It's really a shame. Like, he could do something with a tank here. And then he would actually be able to profit a lot from this. Well, now not anymore at the Panthers there. Curb says, off-map doing better than I thought, to be honest. Having 4 charges is good. It's in my opinion, it's actually a really good off-map. I have been on the receiving end of this by a Walzer, and I've used it myself. It is really good. But, in my opinion, it's only really good if you use them in pairs. It is okay if you use it on its own. It can pin enough for you to move in if you have some units that do a little bit of remaining suppression that needs to be done. But it's especially useful if you use them in pairs. Because you actually get shells everywhere, and it really pins very effective, and sometimes even kills some things. I have started to really like it. Another M30 is out, but the problem is, once again, there's no actual ranged AT over here, so you can actually move forward and just start hitting it. Sherman is also a little bit far forward. Although if it stays in a nice defensive position, the Panzer IV is going to have a bad awakening if it moves up close. The Hummel did take out the 25 and is now going after the next one. I mean, it's kind of fair game to keep these guys open for recon plane. Maybe I was a bit too critical at the start, but at the same time, I still feel like Panzerlordi is in such a strong position at the moment. If he just used his Hummel to, you know, clear out some areas that he can actually push, I think he would be better off at the end of the day. Again, I see the logic. It's just, I think you can actually win relatively fast if you just... Oh, Emcha goes down to the Panzer. Oh, never mind, no Band Awakening there. 45 mil trying to come in and fix it. Now we have Panther A coming in, and this is where the M30 definitely suffers. As I said, you need something that can actually cover it off at range. Just having the 2K is not enough, especially against the tank division, because you know your opponent's going to bring armor. I think Guscott is playing this too much like an infantry division. We can see more infantry coming in everywhere, but not really enough armor. And not enough AT either, right? If he was a very AT heavy, with some infantry in between, I would get that concept, but at the moment he's not really doing either of those. It's just tons of armor, tons of infantry, and then the occasional armored unit. There we go, Focke-Wulf's now coming in after the M30. Maybe a bit of an overkill. There's not that much to gain here, really. And we actually see this very often. Maybe he's making a mistake here. It is a mistake that we see fairly often, in my opinion. That players actually try to go deeper over here, but this one is actually hard to grab. And this line of forest over here, you get it. Yes, you can trap that spawn, but realistically speaking, red is not going to get back in here from over here. The red's angle of getting back is take the hill back and then work your way sideways up here. This is such a stupid to cross open area that unless you have a range your opponent cannot contest, it's really hard to come back from it. A 59 now for Panzerlordi, as he took this flag again with the one Panzergun over here. And over here, the Afto went a little bit too far forward, gets full blast of everything over there. Recon plane is out again, telling Panzerlordi how little there is. And if you look at the map, Guscott's definitely been out traded to. And again, I think this is a part. And again, I think this is a mistake that kind of happened by this Russia where Guscott lost a lot of things and it was just kind of, yeah, on the back foot for the whole game. Crippler spending on a Hummel and not just powering his points into crippling Gus before season mistake. Yeah, I definitely would agree. I think he's still going to win just because of how weak of a position Guscott is in. Although C-Phase has arrived. That being said, this is obviously not where... this is not where Maverick is weak. Maverick is strongest around this time because he has the maximum income, and at the same time the units have arrived at the front line. So this is what you always have to keep in mind. Minute 20 is not when Maverick is starting to get weak, because the last few units actually have to get at the front line first. We do see a Nebel 210 coming in, not with any ammo though, so this is a very odd choice to say it diplomatically, because you definitely do need some ammo with it. Guscott will definitely want... It sounds suicidal, but I think he wants to stabilize what he has as fast as possible, and then actually bring an IS-2 as fast as possible. This is the maybe controversial part, but if he actually brings out an IS-2 quite soon, I do think he still has an angle. Panzerlordi definitely wants to just, I think, continue to grind down Guscott, just make this impossible for him, really. Or something just died over here. Didn't notice what it was there. And I think with the 210 coming out, I think if he actually uses it to clear out the last defenses here in the town or up here, he can really seal the deal here. I do not see Guscott coming back from this anymore. Oh, okay. So Kerb said that this thing nuked Stück. Yeah, the heat shell of this is really good. It was the first shot hit too as well. Relay's on it though. It's not going to survive for much longer. We do see a little bit of a pushback happening over here, and Guscott is also quite weak here, actually. There's one more 25 mil, but it's not in the right spot to do much. We've not seen any other AA coming in out by Guscott, and now there's also actual planes out. It's definitely something you should go for. Hummel is continuing to soften up this spot. U-34 is on the run. Yeah, it's not looking good for Guscott. Panzerlordi is in a very powerful position now. And again, if he actually finishes his push over here and gets fully control of the edge of this hill and the area is right below it, there is no comeback option here for Guscott, in my opinion. You have an IS-2 coming in, but it's in the wrong spot. it's up north, where it can do a lot of damage, but it's going to take a while until he actually gets some flags back. Well, actually, I think if Panzerlorry continues to keep his Panther in the open, it could actually work. He might. Because Panzerlorry did not bring, and that's the interesting thing, he did not bring any Panther G so far. And that would actually be quite useful for him, like especially up here, because he can reinforce it and, you know, have it in a position where, like somewhere in here, for example, or the IS-2 has to get close, but he can still cover off the open. And then the IS-2 is more or less useless, while at the same time, if it gets any close, the Panther will just kill it off. It's interesting comeback over, but yeah, absolutely true. Double vet IS-2, that's rarely seen. Definitely. Emcha is going to get picked apart here by the Panther. Definitely didn't want that to go first. He also needs it to spot for the IS-2. So that's the IS-2's eyes down. And at the moment there's nothing to spot for it either. Not 25 mil coming in. How many flows does he have? Well, actually, maybe we have not seen as many as I thought. I thought we had seen more than 4. But maybe it has been 4 now, because I think you get 4 at single vet. That will make a lot of sense. Another gorilla here being quite problematic. Unfortunately happening once a pair. The only thing defending is 16-8 now. Yeah, I think that's too much for Guscott to take back. The Panther has fallen back now into more defensive positions. T-34 is now also moving, but again, he's fighting for 1 flag and he doesn't have any unit over here to take more. And I think if you go for this, you actually have a better angle at threatening more flags relatively quickly. At the same time, at the moment, he's not in a very strong position over here. So maybe that's a wrong assessment by me. I think at this point, Guscott doesn't really have a comeback angle anywhere, at least not in the time that he's left. If, you know, double tick just started, absolutely, but with how it's going, I have some doubts. 122 moved out again. This is actually quite important, because if the IS-2 has to clear all of this out alone, it's going to take ages. He wants the 122 to actually help here as well, and this T-34 as well, which I'm surprised that he can't. Well, this thing apparently doesn't spot that well. The recon Sherman might. We do have a note, it's a T-34, I was going to say. Oh, he's rushing too deep, there's a Panzer strike in it. No, he's not rushing too deep. I mean, you can't know that, just something that I noticed here. Oh, he actually knows it's there. He bombed it. How does he know it's there? Well, at least he got it. Has turned AG off on the T-3045. Maybe he had, but at least now he hasn't. Oh, the Gorilla found it. It's trying to chase, but it's moving as a back 40, and the back 40 is going to take aim and shoot and miss. Guscott has not realized yet. T-34 is retaliating. Now it's taking a pen. It's trying to move back. Is it going to get out of line of sight in time? It does, but the Panther has line of sight on it too. And down it goes. 3 minutes 30 left. Boston now coming in after the pack 40 over here. Oh, and the pair is going to get probably killed off by 2 Panther Strumping the other star. I think that's going to be the end here. Boston's turning the right way, so it's at least not going to die, but I think that's going to be GG's here. Guscott is not going to come back from this. I was amazed by his opener, so I was kind of rooting for him because of that, but doesn't really work by the looks of it. 210 has fired a salvo. I've not actually noticed that what. And it also needs to be said, Panzerlorry played it the safe way, and he made most of the time the right calls, except for the use of this Hummel, in my opinion, but that's another story. IS-2 is taking him at the Panther now. I want to see this fight. Can you pick up Nebel 210 with the Opel Blitz ammunition? I think you can, but I don't know for sure. Maybe you can't. IS-2 not really doing much at the moment. Wait, is he going after the Panther again? Oh, he can't see. It kind of looks like he can, but it's apparently just out of sight. No, and the Panther did kill off the M30. We're not going to see the Panther IS-2 fight. Not IS-2 coming in over here. But now it's a little too late. But yeah, this is why I think this would have been actually a good call here, because you can use it here. You can really just cover off the edge of the hill. There's no shenanigans like here where you can actually hide a little bit further back and still do something. If you bring the ice to over here, you can just force your opponent back from the edge of the hill. And then you can actually move in close safely, and then you can start taking this back. This is why I'm a huge fan of taking the ice to over here instead of over there. I think as a player you can pick up anything, so you can turn on 88 with a Kugelbug. Oh, never tried that actually. But I mean, why not? Yeah. Just with double vet, usually from my commander are really nice. The 44 rank gets 5 points. Or permanent double vet, same as unvetted Tiger one. Yeah, it's definitely nice to have, but it's not the main issue. It should win anyway. The bigger problem is he bought it in the wrong place. He needed it up here. Because see, it's gonna take the fight now to the Panther, and even if the Panther doesn't die, if Panther really notices, he can just fall back. So it doesn't get a kill, but it's not what matters. That means that Panther really could not actually use this whole area up here to snipe the transport roads, and then Gascot can actually get in close safely. There we go. As he gets the kill on the Panther. But over here you can't really do that, because you have all of these angles from over here where you can have things. You can hide, you know, like in here. In some ways, you can hide like this, or where the Panther is at the moment. Then you have this force patch as well. You have things of it. It's just too many things to cover off really effectively. And you actually have to get very close to be able to cover most of those off, which can then actually you getting side shot, or get close enough that a Pack 40 of APCR can take shots, or a Panther. So this is the problem here. Yeah, I mean it's ticking down rapidly. I think we can beat this up a bit. This has been decided for a long time. Yeah, a relatively short game. So we have 2 decisive games so far, not very close ones actually. Let's see if anyone else is playing at the moment. Not right now. Not right now. So let's see. What can we do? Well, I know actually what I can do in between. I wanted to cast that for a while. So while we're waiting for anyone else to come and play their second game, I wanted to, if I can find it, there's so many. You can also ignore the naming of some of them. Not all of them are my namings. This one. It's a short one, which makes it perfect for, you know, go in between. But I wanted to cast fans of the beginners tournament as well, because I think those guys deserve to be casted as well for the finals game. So we're just going to do that while we're waiting for game 2 between Gascot and Panzerloli. It's only 20 minutes, so it's not very long one. So that also tells us it's not a close one. So we have either 25th Hado or Kessel. It is 25th Hado, by the looks of it. TS Cream versus Hardneck. So I do have a feeling I know why this is a short game, because Hado is not the division you wanna use on this map, in my opinion. Definitely not. Would you recommend balanced Tatcha for a beginner? No, I wouldn't. If you just want to play against AI a little bit, it's perfectly fine. But as soon as you go into PvP, what do you mean by probably no on both accounts? Ah, Tatcha and beginner. Now I got it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the second part. I also wouldn't recommend Tatcha to beginner. But if you want to play, do not play it on balance. Play it on Vanguard or Maverick. I used to say for the longest time, kind of also following Attack Power's footsteps, that balance is, is maybe the best for a beginner. And I would argue that it still is to some degree. However, you need to learn playing aggressively at some point anyway. And while you have a little bit of a rougher start with it, in my opinion, it's probably still better to do it from the start at the end of the day. On top of that, you actually have a chance of staying in game a little bit longer, so learning more of the game if you take one of the aggressive incomes. So this is regardless of the division. It's just a general statement on this. Because, again, the aggressive incomes might have helped you staying in the game for a little bit longer, so you just have more of the game to enjoy and to learn from. So I actually am a fan of starting with those. But for Tatra specifically, it just doesn't have the depth. You don't have good infantry that lasts you long enough. Your tank depth, while deep, if you want to take all the good tools that make Tatra, it's not particularly strong, but if you want to take the good things that it has, that you can actually use the strengths of the division, you don't actually have a lot of depth. So you're running out of your armor relatively soon-ish. And very importantly, your AA is just not going to last you. That's a big problem. Like, the AA situation of Tatra is really problematic. So you're just going to get air spammed. So I definitely do not play it balanced. It may be work if your opponent doesn't really use an air force and just rushing in brain dead. But yeah, unless that's the case, going to be a rough one. So we do see a lot of Stosstroppers on aggressive opener right here. Some 50 mils. Some of the armor sneaking through. Oh no, don't be that guy. He's going in defensively. Never mind. Alright, it's alright. Defensive blown over here by 25th. Same thing over here. Mostly here with the exception of the one flamer, which is probably going to get killed by the 45 mil. Over here, I actually love this, although it's not going to get much. You need to actually get a deeper here to get a flag. But the Stosstroppen is trying to do the same thing, and the MG42 is arriving as well, so that's probably going to get denied right there. And over here, we do see a little bit of a rush in as well. Machine gun in also a little bit of the wrong spot right here. Definitely some deploy mistake by TS Cream. But I can see why this is a short game. Because playing a significantly worse division for that particular map, getting the bad side of the map, and, you know, making things like putting machine guns in such close positions, usually not going to end up very well. We have from the JD7 over here, really going after 45 mil, which is not one of those weird plays, because at the end of the day, this 45 mil is not really threatening anything at the moment. There's no armor coming in here anyway, so there's no immediate danger emerging from it, meaning there's no actual reason to go after it. This is, of course, a very important part of the game. You always have to decide when you bring in Air Force, it should be to deal with something you cannot deal, or to kill off something that is massively expensive, which then means your opponent is in a rough spot because he then needs to buy something else to replace it. Or he invests a lot into something that is useless. That's the other angle of looking at this. Heki here will unfortunately be overwhelmed by the Stossrup at the right Jäger. 40 mil over here, though, is going to take a Marder as his prize. And town is already lost to Snipping Chinos. He's Cream. Still on a 13-11, but it's probably not going to last very long. Over here, he's going to get pinned very, very quickly by all those 50 mils. The Heki is still in a position where he can get fought by all of these. And is immediately going to lose it. Forces hard to buy it. Yeah, but I mean, the Heya can do that as well. And he can still go after more, you know, bigger targets. I'm not necessarily saying that the JD7 is a bad call, but you know, you could go for an infantry blob here, you could go for the machine gun, you could go for something over here where the fight was actually happening. But the one thing that he targeted was the one thing that at the moment was not actually a big problem for him. This is what I meant with it. I'm not saying that buying a JD7 generally is bad. It's a cheap tool, so you can actually, you know, you can do it relatively quickly. Granted, that situation on the ground is good enough, but if you then misuse it, it's still a problem. Over here, oh yeah, he's losing things so fast to 250 mils. The mils are always really good, so any player who can use it is actually quite dangerous. And the best way that I have found to overcome this, unless you're using them yourself, so whenever you're playing against someone that is using those and you don't have them, be it because you didn't take them or because your division doesn't have it, which really sucks sometimes if you play against someone who has it. What I found most successful, and that is the hard part to pull off, is you actually kind of have to keep him busy in a lot of places all the time. Because these things do require micro to be used correctly. If you can make sure that your opponent is always busy in every part of the map, you can very, very easily make it really hard for him to use those properly. But that is easier said than done. Depending on the division matchup, depending on the position of the map, depending on your opener, a lot of these things, it's not so easy to do. So you can very easily say that this is the way to go, but obviously it is quite hard, depending on the situation, to actually pull it off. Right? I've been in that situation myself. It can be rough. Definitely. But the reason why, and we can see this here happening, it's not just the 50 mil, even without those. The reason why I'm saying that this is a bad matchup for 2050 is just, you can see, I think there's another unit or two, but he's mostly rallying at the Haggis at the moment, and that's just not that good. Hardneck, in the meantime, has the right here MP44, which is an excellent CQC unit. He has some Schlossrup for an aggressive opener, which gives just a little bit more firepower and flames for cheap, which further help the right Jaeger MP44. You have some other cheap units like the right Jaeger, not MP44, and you have actual decent infantry as well. So it's just going to make it quite rough at the end of the day. And the line infantry of 2050 is not really, yeah, it's just not ready for the task at hand, and the Seekers isn't either. And we see this right here. And the Rune is obviously not a good tank to make up for that, because it's not good to support that. With the ME210 coming in, he's once again focusing on the A, on the AT, which is very odd. Again, he's losing this over here, actually. Well, at the moment, he doesn't really have a lot of threat over here, but I do think he's really misusing his air force here, which is putting him in some trouble. Because, you know, for example, stopping the infantry here from pushing would actually be a good call. Or just blindly bombing this so that your infantry can actually move in and then surrender it. Would actually be a very, very good move. He is out for some recon. He needs to stay clear of the 37, the flag 36, and then it should be fine. It's back to 12-12. We actually somehow stabilized over here with forcing, just, yeah, throwing more Heggies into the gap, but the 50 mil is already added again. This one is running out of ammo. This one does not. The Serenity is supporting nicely from Rodado. 25 points right there, and 44 seems really strong in CQC, considering they are also that left. Yes. I think they were decent, but not incredibly strong before the MP44 buff. Like, they were good. They were not bad. But now they're actually quite good, in my opinion. Because, again, you can use them to hold the forest, especially on Kostritsa. Because in the town, there's so many areas where you're out of... where it's over 100 meter, but below 300, so they can do so much damage. Like in areas like here as well, you can actually use them quite effectively. It's such a good unit. It's really powerful. And one of the things that makes Hardneck so dangerous and so scary. So Sleeping is really good as well. Yeah, I mean he's doing well, but I do have to say the matchup definitely helps him, because 2050 it cannot withstand this, not at all. What he does do very good though is using the 50 mils quite nicely. Like, this is such a massive force multiplier, so whenever you can use it, this can easily win you fights. And he definitely has a good micro capability to use it, right? This is another important thing here. Because being able to use it correctly is one thing, but says Panzerloy has been trying to chat, but his messages aren't showing up for some reason. Is that a setting on your channel or something? Yeah. Just specifically banning him. No, I don't actually know why this could be the case. I'll need to check, but I don't think I've said it's a bad thing. Don't abuse it, guys. Don't abuse it. I don't want to have to ban anyone. But I don't have any I don't actually have any auto-ban words, I don't think. Maybe I should start implementing it. Although I do not monetize the stream anyway, so... should probably be fine if something happens and then I moderate it. I hope so. But no, Panzerloy should be... I will have to check it after the stream, or maybe I'd take a brief moment to see what's going on when we're through with this game. Yeah, because it's obviously not good. Oh, right there before forcing more Heggies off. I think supported by the 50 mil. Yeah, as I said, these things are really fantastic. And I was going to say before I read Curb's messages, so being able to know how to use it is one thing, but having the micro capability using it is not a thing. So this is always a good sign if someone can do that. Because again, this thing will just win you so many fights. It's absolutely nuts. This is, if you watch some of the games from Espresso, you should see that as well. He's a master of using these effectively. And I've been in the receiving end of it too. I like to use them myself, but I'm not at the level of Espresso when it comes to those. And again, I've been in that situation too, where as soon as you get slowed down somewhere, if your opponent can just start spamming you with those, there's just nothing you can do anymore at that point. It's really, really annoying. ME210, It's out again. And this is a really, really good plane. Definitely a good choice to take this right here. If I was him, I would honestly go after those 50 mils. They can be so powerful. This is enough reason to take a plane. If this can then allow you to win a flank, absolutely worth using a plane for that. Would do. Always. But still 15-9. I think this... We can skip ahead a little bit. Because honestly, this is a decided game. Looking at this, I do not see an angle for TS Cream coming back. It doesn't have the CKC power of his division. Heggies, as good as they are for 20 points, because you know they're a nice hybrid unit. If you're using only those for CKC, no problem. Do you think 50 mil should be 30 points? Or 20 to 25 for the 500 meter range one? It's hard to tell, honestly. I think they could be better, but I think they could be better. Sorry, I think they could be more expensive, but at the same time, there's quite a high skill gap. And so here's the thing. You shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't really balance the game just for the top players, right? So it is probably not a good idea to do it, because then a lot of people will not really take the time to learn them at all, because it's just so expensive for what they actually can achieve for those players. I think that's bad overall. In the hands of good players, yes, it could be 30 points. I would be absolutely fine with that, but the problem is then it's hard to justify, kinda. But still, I mean, considering that this thing can stop 1 or 2 infantry units, or even more if it's a blob, it's totally fair for it to have the same price than an infantry unit, I would argue. But again, the problem is just an infantry unit is always going to be useful. The 50 mil is not always useful. So, yeah, it's a hard call here. It would definitely be nice to see them a little bit more expensive for good players, but again, I think it would hurt the game overall, so probably not good. A lot of flak 36s over here. I should at least take care of the ME210. I'm actually more of a fan of vetting. Like, taking 2, for example, is good, but then just take a leader with them and vet them. And then I should do the trick. Or just take them at double end to begin with, because it's actually the better call here. Another kill on the right Jaggers list. It just goes on. One positive thing, though, we hardly ever see them being actually resupplied, which is not just because they're so cheap, but also because they're obviously in a quite far forward position, so it's relatively risky to bring you ammo. But still, it would actually be lovely to see people resupplying them more often, because they see it as more of a serious investment. It would actually be a nice side effect of it being 30 points. Yeah. Team Heart makes us laughing. It is a nice division. It's a very powerful division too, especially on this map. I think for Streets, that's definitely one of the better ones. I don't have Koenig's tier list at hand, but I cannot imagine it being below top 10. Maybe, you know, there's some shared places in the top 10s, but I personally see it as very high on this particular map. But it's the one fight where the Hegi is definitely going to win. I was fighting the right Jäger with 3 carbines. Yeah. Although, no, it still loses because it's low health. Oh, no. This feels so bad. I feel sorry for TS Cream. But, I mean, he picked this division, so it's his own fault. I think we can speed this up a little bit. Because this game is decided, and it has been for, I think, since minute 5 or so. Mostly more with the picks or anything like that. Oh, he's going to lose at least one of those Ju-87s now. At least I would think. Yeah, there we go. I mean, reinforcements coming in, but it's all just Heggies. And they're just... Nah, they're not going to last. Meanwhile, up here we have I'm personally not a fan of this. We have the Xaba. If your opponent has a lot of half tracks, it's actually quite nice to have. Other than that, I'm not a huge fan of it. You have also a lot of these 75 mils, and those are really dangerous too. Absolutely fantastic unit. Nice strike over here, but unfortunately there's no infantry follow-up, but I do not think that he has the points to buy any of this at the moment. It's just getting obliterated here. And now we have a lot of HE-111s coming in as well, so everything is going to get bombed immediately. Summer block pushing forward. Let's go. Yeah. You're actually going to get killed quite fast too. Yeah, this is over. This game, this is GG's. Light Jacket, I'll make a push for this flag. But there's a lead here, so that's not gonna die immediately. Yeah, Light Jacket before does not have the AT to deal with the Panzerjäger. Panzer T-34. One lonely hetzer here trying to hold off some infantry. He can actually do it. There's not much he can stop it. But the Pack 40 is coming in, so that can do it. Hello, Ramai. Nice to have you here as well. It looks like Panzer also messaged me saying that his smashes do not come through. Yeah, I mean, that was a very clear trait difference, which I think was very much facilitated by the difference. But then on top of that came also the 50 mil, so that was kind of an unwinnable combination for TS Cream. He had to fight an uphill battle for to begin with, and then he had the skill battle with the 50 mils, and he definitely lost that. So that was a fast one indeed. But that was the finals. That definitely needed to be showed as well. So let's see. Is game 2 being played? Can you answer me on Discord, Panzerlorly, if you're still in the stream? If it's gonna be played anytime soon, so then I can go with that one next. And then I need to figure out why he cannot write in the chat, because that is obviously not intended. Let me actually, okay, give me just a second. I'll need to check the stream real quick. Some of the settings. Need to find out what I can do here. No, it's not what I want. Okay. Can you try again, Panzerlorly, if you're still watching? Okay, so they're doing picks and bans at the moment, as we're going to have to be a little bit patient. Can you try to write in the chat again? I tried something. Let's see if that changed anything. Also not sure if it shows an effect to an already running stream, so... Despite me doing this for a bit, well, no, a bit more than a year. It's more 1.5 now. I'm still very much a noob when it comes to any of the YouTube setting and whatnot, because since I'm not doing this professionally and don't have any plans, I have not informed myself as much as I could have probably. So I'm still very, very noobish here. I had only 4 bands done yet, so it's going to take some time. So I might use that for a quick break, but let's actually see in the meantime if Panzerly can write in the chat again or not, because otherwise I have to continue trying to fix that. This is annoying. All right, I can see now if... No. First by seeing you with DBS, yes. Yeah, look, that was a big surprise for me as well. So what happened was that I completely forgot about... So he's talking about a tournament game I played against Sir Robert on Wednesday, I think. That was not really my original plan. That was... because his meshes are still not coming through. Okay. I first answer Ramai, then we'll go back to trying to fix that. I still don't know why. But yeah, so basically what happened is I really forgot about Kessel. I didn't ban it, and I didn't think it was an option. I expected the Robert to go with one of his tank divisions or something like that. He's more of an armor player for the most part. And the biggest fan of TVS, I wasn't surprised to see you play it. Oh yes, absolutely. No, and I yeah, so I picked allies, and there were no real good allied divisions left that I felt like where I could counter the castle. So I had to get creative and think of divisions that you wouldn't consider as straight up counters, but could maybe work around it. And that is not the only one that I had in mind. I had other ideas as well, but DBSAS was one of the few that came to my mind as an allied ones because Pichotti was banned, Pancherna I couldn't play. Could have been an option, but you have problems at the flanks. This one was one of the, I think, if you look at good divisions for Harashai, you will probably look at this at some point because it wasn't banned. I just don't think its price performance ratio is good enough to deal with Kessel because you have a lot of infantry that is quite good, but it is quite pricey. To the point where, for example, like this is 5 points less than the Brandenburger, but it performs definitely much, like it has a sniper for the extra range, which is nice, but the performance is still far lower than the Brandenburger, and it doesn't have the CQC. So if you do these kind of things, so if you take this division, for example, I think you're just in a big trouble because your units don't perform to the price you pay, and you also can't bring that many units because of the price you're paying. Then I'm just going to go through divisions that I thought might be good ideas and why I didn't pick them. This was banned. This was banned. This one I was thinking of, and it might have worked. It's actually, I think, very similar in quite a few ways. However, you will run out of CQC. Even though you get 16 of those, you will run out of CQC before Kessel. And that's a problem, because just the Hegi can bully you, and then they lose a lot of your pushing power. You can bully Kessel's infantry really well with these guys, but you don't have that much AT, like proper tanks that can deal with tanks of Kessel. You can't air spam it as well, so this was also off the table for me. Maybe it would have actually been a good call. This one is just not good enough for Kessel anyway. I think it wasn't banned, but I can't play it very well, and you have the CQC issue again. This one you don't want to play against Kessel either, because again the infantry is not up for the task. This one is not good. Or this one would kind of be, this one was kind of a consideration, but I'm just not so experienced with it, so I didn't want to play it. There's kind of a lot of divisions like this. Obviously this one was banned, so all the good ones were kind of banned. And then you have like these, which infantry again is not up for the task. You don't have the right armor for it. So that kind of, left me with not that many good choices. The one that I kind of forgot was ATF, which I think might have been an option. So I figured I go a little bit risky with a division that people are not really familiar with, which was DBSAS. And the reason why I chose this is you have infinite, so disregard the build. I have never actually played this build. I don't really play it in quick play. But you have infinite Maquisards, which are slightly better than the Hegi. So CQC, check. Outside of the Brandenburger, which is an issue, but you can deal with that. You have, which, you definitely see that I haven't played this deck at all, because you need to take those. You have 50 mils, check. They can actually win against the Brandenburger. And, these guys, while being cheap and not particularly powerful, they are performing to their cost, right? So that's what it ends up being. Maquisards worse than Hegi though. How are they? Did you have an additional SMG? The FM is just so slightly better. Really? I'm pretty sure the Maquisards would be better than the Hegi, to be honest. 3 SMGs versus 2. I know that the Hungarian SMG is better, but 3 stands should make up for that, and this one is slightly better too. Are the SAS shots any good? No, that seems meh, but they commando. Yes. No, the Hegi only has... Oh, maybe I mixed it up with the new Hegi MG 42, which has only 2 SMGs. Maybe I mixed it up. Okay, my bad then. I mixed it up. Yeah, they do have straight pulls. That's right. So yeah, then the Hegi is actually better. But anyway, you have infinite Maquisards, which is good, so you're not going to run out of CQC. And your armor mix can actually be somewhat nice. And I've tried to learn from Koenig's push. He pulled it off against... He pulled off a good push against me once, which I tried to learn from, which is rushing in with these guys first, and then the banner behind them, and it actually worked quite well. So this is why I opted for this. It was a very risky pick, but I didn't really see any division that wasn't risky in one way or another. Like, it was different divisions that had some strengths, but I was not really, confident in taking those, so just went with this one at the end of the day. But yeah, so these guys, yes, they're actually good. Maybe you should actually double vet them, I don't know. But this is kind of like the MP44 used to be. Now it's straight downgrade. For 25 points, the combination is actually not too bad. 8 of those still do suppression and damage, mostly damage. And if you ever get close, full stands, well, not fantastic, do something. And then you have these helping out as well. Combine that with Commando, it gives you enough of an edge that this thing is actually useful. You can use it in CQC as well. You do have an AT grenade on top, which is quite useful. And you have the smoke, which I've watched Roy's stream back to see how I did instead of watching the replay. And I saw Koenig complaining about the smoke, which is true. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's a decent unit. Hello, Panzerlolly version 2. Yeah, I still haven't gotten to trying to figure out what the issue was. I will do my best to figure it out, though. Just wasn't there anything worth taking support at? Well, again, this is not my build from that game. Okay, this is not a good build. This is not... Ignore this build. I've built this probably when the division came out, and I've never used it since. While I actually am... following Koenig's example, a fan of using this balance, you do want to take the hotkeys as well, and you do want to use the 2-inch mortar. Both must-takes, in my opinion. As well as like after level CQC and can find at least trash infantry range. Yeah, I mean, as I said, the commando helps a lot here, because you can actually survive. And these guys do add up. I'm not sure if it's after level, but it's definitely not bad. But yeah, it's a decent unit. Yeah, the smoke grenades neat, yeah. So yeah, ignore this build, but the question, there was a point about me playing this. But yes, I'm not, I find the division interesting to go back to. I saw the subtle message in Roy's comment here. I still do not think it's a particularly good division in general. I think a lot of its strengths, like when Koenig played it against me and Slutsk, for example, a lot of its strengths in tournament comes from people, first of all, picking, or mostly Koenig, picking it when it's actually appropriate, since he really knows the strengths and weaknesses of the division very well, and how to exploit your opponent's division weaknesses with DVSS, and unfamiliarity with the division. This is a massive factor. Like, if you look at any good players, a huge factor is people not actually knowing their opponent's division so well. And that goes beyond just looking at the tools. I can pull up any division and look at what it has, but how people actually play that division is an entirely different thing. And I think you see that a lot on higher levels, that sometimes a surprising pick that might not be meta, but still has some good things going for it. Sometimes there's more success than an actual meta pick. MF, that is like after DPS and less suppression, but Commander fixes the difference. Okay, damn, crazy. I didn't expect them to do that much damage. I expect them to do some good damage, because the M1 carbine is actually quite high in DPS, but I didn't know it was that good. It's actually pretty crazy. Let's see if there's any updates. So I can see we definitely need like 20 more minutes before we build decks. Wow, okay. It's the message that I got from Panzerlolly, so we need to fill that time somehow. But the first thing I need to do is try to find out why Panzerlolly cannot write message with his regular command. So I need to get back to that. Sorry for it being a bit quiet, but I really do not know how it works. Hold on, how is this going to work? No, it is not actually. Hmm. Okay, I really do not know. Why it's not working for you, Panzeroy. I'm sorry. Maybe some sort of shadow ban from YouTube because of the lollipop in his name. Maybe, but I think he has messaged in the past as well. Hold on, let me see if there's any messages that are held back that I need to. And he can also still come to my YouTube videos. Okay. Oh, I know. For some reason, okay. So I see. I had a setting which messages. So everyone else can see his messages, right? Can you confirm this real quick for me? Because one thing that I noticed is apparently I had it on top chat. So for me, it only shows a few messages, and might try to avoid spam. So for whatever reason, it looks like, because I cannot see his second account either. No, none of us can. Okay. Can you message with your... That's all I can write, yeah. So I think it was just because now I can see his messages as well. I think for some reason it ended up in the spam filter. So because I set it to top chat and not live chat, which shows every message, it didn't show it. I'm sorry. I don't know why it did that. Because I think as soon as if you keep writing, as soon as I switch back to top chat, I think, yeah, there we go. His messages are gone. And I don't know why. Okay. That is very, very weird. I saw his messages. You need a bit of... Do you guys... For you all could see it, right? So it's really just me. Okay, that's weird. I need to double check because I never... Either it's the first time that this happened, or yeah, or it just switched it recently. Well, I need to check if it's in the default settings, because obviously it should be live chat that I see all the messages. I don't want to filter any out. And I'm wondering how many messages I've missed in the past. But at least it's working. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I can see Panzeroy. I can see. Okay, you learn something new every day. You definitely do. Oh, so it was not just having the same problems. Yeah, I can see both Panzeroy. This apparently has the same issue, so it's not... I didn't know that. I didn't even know that you can change this, but apparently you can. Because the more people are doing it, and more people consider, okay, so it was not just a me problem, it was everyone. Is this a new... Does anyone know this? Is it a relatively new feature or something like that? Because I don't remember having this issue brought up by anyone, but it's also possible that some people are just kind of shadowed away and no one ever saw them, which of course is sad. But since most people apparently couldn't see him before, I wouldn't be surprised if this was not the only case. So if anyone has ever been watching me and is watching this now and was wondering why I was ignoring your comments, I'm really, really sorry. If this happened to anyone else, I'm truly sorry. This... Look, I thought you just ignored me for the last 2 to 3 months. Oh no. Oh fuck. I really thought... so... Oh crap. I didn't know this. I didn't realize. Oh man. So there's probably other people too who felt ignored. Well, if anyone is watching this now and also felt ignored, I'm really sorry. I did not do this on purpose, but it just filtered those messages out for me because I had it on top chat and not live chat. Why this is a feature that is made that way, as default is a mystery to me, because obviously you want to, as content creator, you want to see the messages. I get it if you have like thousands of subscribers, I guess, because then it might get a little bit overwhelming. But for me, certainly it isn't with my merely maybe 20 viewers or something like that. So, okay. Well, we figured it out. We did it. Hooray. Okay, so he can write now, and I can see it. And hopefully anyone else as well. So, shouldn't happen again. So anyone who's still getting ignored from this point onward is going to be done deliberately, I guess. Or at least you know that it is, because I cannot use it as an excuse, I guess. I did not know that I could use it as an excuse before that, but now I do. All right, so we need some... So how is it looking, Panzer? Now you can actually write in here. Are you going to be able to... Or are you going to play anytime soon? Because otherwise I'm going to do a little game or something like that. A little gap filler. I need to counterpick 242nd on Harrow. Well, I can't help you with that. But okay, so we already have a division. Now, I cannot discuss this division until you have made your pick. Because otherwise I can give you ideas of what you can use as counterpick. And again, that would be unfair. I don't really want to help you. Because again, that would not be fair play for Guscott. But we're going to take a look at it once Panzeroli has made his counter pick. Definitely an interesting pick. Curb, if you're still here, what is your opinion on how good it is? Without, giving any advice to Panzeroli to counter pick. Good first pick, not a good first pick. Because he's kind of the master of this division here, or at least the best I know. Maybe not a master yet, but he certainly likes this division, and he knows how to play it. Whereas I don't really do that yet. I don't know how Panzeroli allowed... Okay, I think that says everything. Curb says, I don't know how Panzeroli allowed that. To be honest, I will ban it probably too. It's a scary division. But there we go. There we go. New division, yes. Well, I think there have been a few instances of people forgetting new divisions. I think just yesterday or the day before, there was Drago Tango had his oh shit moment when he forgot to ban the first Czechoslovakian one. It turned out well for him, but certainly not an easy division to fight against. I think that has perhaps more to do with how it was played and less with the division itself. The fact that he still won. He has a trick up his sleeves, but it's a must ban. Let's play 2-4. Okay, good to know. No one's name right now is 242nd is for noobs. Well, 18th Visto. Yeah, where is your 18th? Was he banned again? I guess as player 2 you have to ban it. Didn't know you want that they fat. Yeah, it has a lot of scary things. This division is really, 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 really scary. Yes. Yeah, of course it was banned. It's first ban. For you. I guess you had to ban it. Right? I mean, if you didn't, that would have been a mistake as well. I think by Guscott, actually, because then he should not... He banned it. Well, Guscott shouldn't have banned it then. He should have played it. Well, you wanna ban your favorite division if it's a good one. If you play it too, because you're not gonna pick it. It's your opponent will pick it usually. It's a really good one, and 18th is really good. So no big surprise that it's banned. But then again, 242nd is scary too. So fair thing. But all right, so we need to do something while they are doing their... Let's quickly see. No, nothing to be casted here. Actually, there was a 2v2 game. Don't know this guy, so... I quickly need to check, but I do have... For situations like these, where I just need to fill some time, I do have the perfect build, unless I have deleted it accidentally, which is the Blinde Rush build. And its whole sole purpose is to be played on stream. Yeah, there we go. On Vanguard, kind of Hypocast style with full aggression. and don't really give a fuck. And then it's either you surrender by minute, either you win by minute 20 or you surrender by minute 20. It's that kind of game, division or build specifically. So we're going to do that. It's also good practice about being aggressive. And you know, I do not care about surrendering early with this one. If it just, oh, actually we do have. Oh no, I made nightmare. Okay, Panzerloli has decided, so they're playing 20th Panzer on Maverick versus... Okay, now we can actually look at the division. So now screw that. We're going to take it the divisions. Panzerloli, can I please ask you to leave the stream then? So, you know, that I can discuss the divisions and their strengths and weaknesses without giving any tips to you. If Gascott is in here, I would also ask him please to leave the chat stream. But yeah, I do share Kerb's surprise here, 20th Panzer not being banned, because 20th Panzer is also must ban on Hiroshima. It's actually quite powerful on that map. All right, thanks Panzerloli, good luck. And in case he was watching, good luck to Gascott too. Well, also if he's not watching, good luck to Gascott too. Okay, let's take a look at the divisions. But yeah, it's 2 divisions that would usually be banned. They got 3. We can actually take a quick look to see what I mean at Koenig's tier list. I should have it somewhere ready to go. There we go. So Koenig made a lot of tier lists for different maps, and specifically for competitive play. So it's taking, you know, bans and things like that into consideration. And as you can see, 232nd quite high in A tier, 20th Panzer also quite high in A tier, and that is for a good reason. We're going to look at that now. So 242nd, obviously more of a Vanguard division. Maybe Kerb's going to correct me, but I think it's more of a Vanguard one, maybe Maverick. It's definitely not a balanced one. And it has some really scary stuff. Like, if you are a player 2, you shouldn't really be afraid of 20th Panzer. Yes, but Gascott should ban it. But also, actually, as player 1, I think you should still be afraid of 20th Panzer. 20th Panzer is, in my opinion, a division that is just notoriously hard to counterpick, probably. Just because it is... Like, it has a bit of everything. And as Kerb says, first picking it is not hard, yeah. Like, if you don't ban, I'm happily picking this, and then you have troubles actually counter-picking it. It's not that you can't have divisions that... It's not that other divisions don't work against 20th, it's just... It has, I think, a very selective few divisions that are a hard counter, and everything else is kind of playable against it, but not particularly good. So you just don't have... 20th is one that allows you to pick relatively risk-free if you ban 1 or 2 divisions, really. And then you can kind of go from there. And this is a big problem. Grip says, yes, bazooka divs are dangerous for it, but not as dangerous as Western Allied divisions, since you have less light armor, so you can micro it. Yeah. But yeah, 20th is just such a safe pick, really. Like, you don't really leave yourself very exposed, and you can just go from there, really. I will maybe ban 2 Pancellos so that your Panzer Freezer plows are not going to get outclassed by any Tyrans. Then you ban, which you should ban anyway, and which your opponent should also start banning some of the very scary Valentine divisions. Then you're actually pretty good. Kerb says, currently plan for Panzer Freeze is so much easier than 1000 half-tracks. Yes, absolutely. Not all of its good counter will be banned, says Roy. I disagree on that. Like, the good counters of 20 will be banned. Really sure. Because some of these good counters for like 20th Panzer are strong divisions on that map in general that you don't want to leave your opponent. Some of them are actually safe first pick divisions on that map too. So your opponent will start banning them. Unless, if he leaves them open, yeah, sure, but if you pick a better division than 20th, then obviously, you know, the counter isn't really there. A lot of Sherman divisions that can't play well against 20. Not really. The problem is you're going to get outtraded very fast at the start by the blobs of Panzer Freeze. Then you have some of the Martyrs too. I personally do not consider most Sherman divisions an actual counter against 20th. Like, yeah, things like 4th, yes, but you don't want to leave that to your opponent anyway. Like, if you play a 2, you ban that. You have to. And this is kind of where I'm at with this. We can actually open up the tier list again. Now, I'm not claiming to know every single counter, but as far as I'm concerned, like SSB, you don't want to leave open as player 2. You have to ban it. Same goes for these two. If your opponent gets these and he can ban the few counters it has, it's goodbye to you. So that leaves a handful that are particularly dangerous. These are definitely considered dangerous for 20th Panzer. This one too. This one as well. This one is counterable. So, you know, your opponent has to ban those two. You can get rid of those. This one is all right, I would argue. This one you might want to ban. This one, I'm not sure if we can handle. But yeah, it's for the most part, it's Soviet Days Valentine's, as we covered. I would specifically maybe ban this because the Matildas are a true nightmare for Panzer II 3s, in my opinion. But you ban that, and then some of the other ones like this, I think it's going to be fine with 20th Panzer. This is going to be fine. It's one of the typical bazooka divs. Third, somewhat fine, but doable. This one would actually not be my main concern. First, yeah, I would, as I said, I think I would ban the 2, but you need to make sure you have the 2 Panchellas banned. And some of these top divisions, your opponent needs to ban. Because if he doesn't do that, you just play those, right? So if we're assuming that 20th Panzer is going to be played, we assume that these are banned anyway, because otherwise you wouldn't pick 20th. And your opponent has 8 bans. Unless you ban any of those, he should really take care of those already. And that is most of the Valentine they've gone. And then you're actually quite safe because you can take your time to ban some of the few counters for 20th. Like, I seriously wouldn't be worried too much about this. It's not that some of this division can't fight 20th on equal ground. It's just that it's such an easy safe pick. It's really hard to specifically counter it, I would argue. I would actually not be surprised if it was your Panzer, because I know how you play it. And it has some really nice tool to counter some of the armor divisions, so I'm not sure if you're joking or not, but I would actually seriously consider this, yes. I mean, 7SD is a really nice counter to some armor divisions in general on Harrow. I have used it. I've learned from you. It is nice. Anyway, let's go back to 242nd. And take a quick look at this division, what makes it so good. So you have a lot of nice stuff in here. You have the Gorno Svetka Sniper, Sub-Perry, you get a sniper, and if your opponent gets close, you have a TNT. You also have radio. Really nice. You have more snipers. Fast transport. More for recon, but it's nice to have. Then you have these guys. It's basically a Tanko with 2 men more, but no shock, which is a straight downgrade at the same time. The 2 men more might make up for that. And you have radio as well. So actually have plenty of radio to throw around, even if I told you one if you really want it, which I don't, but definitely. Depending on the matchup, you might want to use this. I have also not played this all too much, because I mostly play in tournaments these days and not that much quick play. And whenever I play tournaments or practice game, I build the division. I built my deck specifically for that game. So a lot of my channel game builds are maybe not that powerful. And then you obviously have a lot of really powerful infantry. You have some really good tanks. We're going to get to that too. So for CQC, you have this thing, which is, unless you run into Flame, is actually quite nice in my opinion. I know some people hate it, but I think it's a really good unit, personally. Then, Gornos Velki is not particularly powerful, but it is nice. I think now for 20 points, actually pretty decent. 6 people. It's a hybrid unit. It's a cheap one. So I think in the cost to performance ratio, it sits in a good spot. Obviously, it's not super good performance, but The cost also reflects that. That actually makes it pretty decent overall. You also have an AT grenade, this kind of thing. You have this thing, which is really good. Again, no guns appearing in the slow transport. You mean this one? Oh yeah. Well, as I just said, I don't actually. I think I've played this maybe once this build. So, but yeah, then you have more good. So you can see you don't have shock, which is a bit of a downgrade, but I would argue that this combination here is quite good, unless you run into flamers. But even then, this might probably be good. Even against flamers, you can micro. They are very cost efficient, effective, and tanky enough to not immune. Yes, it is what I think too. It's probably going to be enough to still throw the TNT. And with those, you can actually do some damage too. So it's depending on what flamer you run into, the TNT might not even be needed. Then you have these guys, which, you know, it's DTs, which is straight up better than the DP. So you have more good things there. You have this thing, which is also coming with DTs, and this is also a really good unit. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Guns and Paradox, or Paradox in general, for that matter. You have a bazooka, which they actually need. We're going to get to the weakness here. But yeah, you just have more of these. It's just a nice division overall. You have a lot of fighting power in A phase and into B phase as well. Then in C phase, you can still... For just pure defense, these can actually be useful sometimes. And then we move into this territory, which, you know, you run out quickly, which means it's maybe not that good for a long... for a you know, deep income, but it's still very powerful. Like, Turans can do a lot of pressure, can be quite powerful, both the Turan 1 and the 2. The 2 has a nice bonus of also doing some nice infantry support with the HE shell. For me, this is actually a half track and infantry killer, whereas this is more of a, you actually kill other light armor, like other light tanks. But this one is perfectly fine at doing this as well. It's not actually bad. And you can actually sometimes kill things with the heat shell too. Sometimes. Then the IS-1 blocks off a lot of things. It's just a very powerful tank. It's comparatively cheap for what it can do. Then you have your IS-2 as well, which is also really powerful. So there's that. The only issue that this division has, you're going to see, is light armor. But it depends on what kind of light armor, because the Turans can handle it to some extent. Now over here we have an IS-2-152, which is also a fantastic tool. Yeah, 50 mils, Dushka and OB-25s, we all know those. That's a good reader. OB-25 too, by the way. And then over here we have some PTRs, which are also nice against hard tracks and whatnot. These are a bit of a problem. You don't have a lot of AT on top of your already limited tanks. And you have good AA too. Nimrod, flak filling. I guess I took this here for extra AT, but really you could probably take this one more combo and be done with it. Also forgot to mention this Rini. So you have some more nice HE support. And you can one-tap tanks with it as well. And then you have these guys, absolutely fantastic artillery piece. You have a good off-map. Yeah, there's really a lot of things. And you can actually support them with radio too, because your leader is radio, your recon is radio. And then you have some scary planes too. You know, with the LA5 to Boston. This thing is not so scary. It is there. I guess it helps. So this makes this just very, very strong. Again, light armor can become a problem at some point, because you only have one bazooka and it is on your leader as well. And when these are running low, you definitely have some problem, because you don't really have that many AT rifles, right? These guys do not come in with any AT, so it is definitely noticeable. And this makes it so powerful. Now, moving over, we have 20th, which, yeah, this one I also haven't played in ages. I don't play balanced anymore, for the most part in the queue, because I hate those endless grinds. I like the 50 or 60 minute grind, but I hate the more than 60 minutes grind. But this one, you know, has also some nice tools, some of which I think can counter 240 seconds, some of which will struggle. So obviously it has an IS-2 as well, so it's kind of a coin flip which of the two will die, if any at any point dies. The Panzer III is definitely nice. I would, because of the rate of fire, I would say if it is quite close, I think on top of that also cheaper, Turan 1s will probably win. Probably. Just because of the rate of fire. Especially because if it's cheap, you can actually spam out more of those. And same thing really goes for the Panzer IV, because the Terran 1s and 2s do count as medium tanks in terms of health pool, even though they're classified as light tanks. Same goes for this one, by the way. Also says light tank. It is not a light tank. It has 10 HP. So that's where I kind of see an advantage for 242nd. At the same time, the combination of these and the Panzer IVs, and then potentially some half-tracks you can take in here, will eventually be quite annoying for 242nd to deal with. So this is where I definitely do see an advantage for it. In terms of infantry, 20 definitely doesn't have much advantages. At range, it has Panzergrenze, so it's still, range is still superior. There's no debate there. The MG42 is obviously quite good. And it has this thing which kind of does somewhat the same thing like the Strelki DT, just more cheaper. I think it's slightly worse, but not that much. So you can see it definitely suffers a little bit. So this is where 242nd has some nice advantages. Yeah, but the ISU-152 can be countered. We also need to keep in mind that both the IS-1 and yeah, here you see that I haven't played this in quite a while. I think Emil will be shocked if he saw this. Both the ISU-152 as well as the IS-2 can be countered up close. The former by Panzer IVs, things like that, so you can only use them at range, and the IS-1 can easily be countered by Martyrs, because with the APCR they will at close range actually reliably pen it. Just get in 2 Martyrs and they will overwhelm it very easily. So this is where I think 20th is not a bad pick here. You also have some Panzerschrecks to deal with the lighter tanks. You have the 45mm, and this you don't actually need that much of the heavy stuff here really. You have obviously good AA to deal with the Air Force. Your artillery is quite good. I'm not sure how well it counters those little mountain guns. You can definitely stay at a safe distance with your artillery and pick them apart though. This is where the mountain guns suffer a little bit. Although, that being said, you can actually spam those out in surprisingly fast. You can spam those out and they can take out some proper artillery pieces. They will struggle a little bit, but they can. But obviously what's more important for the town, you have a Wolfram and an off-map. Both those are quite effective in towns. So while 242nd has an off-map as well, the Wolfram definitely can be a huge game changer, especially against something expensive like an IS-1 or an IS-2, which otherwise maybe might need to take some effort. And actually I would argue that 242nd has some nice airspan potential, because 20th Panzer has some nice airspan potentially, and 242nd's nice AA is actually a bit of a downgrade here because it is expensive. So 20th with its GOs can actually be much more effective here. That is something that we have to consider as well. Roy says, I would still give the city 20th Panzer 242nd the more to play on the sides with its better inf. Probably, yeah. I think you might be right here. But the problem with that is that always leaves you in a very vulnerable position, because you actually need to defend and push both flanks. Whereas your opponent can just have the city, and from there has multiple angles of attacking your flanks again. You just have to... you really hate this play. You can do it. We sometimes see it, but very rarely. Because your front line is so long then, and you have to really hold it in many places where your opponent has easy times collapsing onto you. So it is a bit of a problem. Obviously, your opponent still has a long front line as well, but he has basically his forces condensed in one central area, which makes it a lot easier to decide where to go. But yeah. But I think 20th can still, you can make 20th bleed in the city for taking it. And you can still make the call to contest it. I think the problem is just going to be that you can't reinforce it with your IS-1, which I think is one of the big strengths that 242nd has against many divisions, that you can actually do all the light armors and then block it off with the IS-1, which I do not see happening here. Let's see if they started. I got pinged. Yep, they have. Actually, about 8 minutes ago already. Because for some reason I didn't go the messaging. Oh, no, I muted the Discord. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see. But we did fill the gap, so good things happening. 20th still holding up. 20th is really an impressive division in that regard. At least for, I don't know how it used to be back in the old days, because I didn't play back then. But at least for as long as I have been playing, 20th has been good. and there's never, you know, a lot of the good divisions at some point fell off, or we had some new rising stars. But 20's just been consistent, really. And it's been old. Like, SSB has also been consistent despite having been nerfed, although it's definitely not as good as it used to be. But to me, it feels like, you know, it's still also there, but it is, you know, quite a bit younger than 20. So it's actually really impressive. So we do have Panzer on the left. On the right, we do have Guscott. Now, Guscott could... His problem is he's not really all that fast. Otherwise, he could pull off the curb rush, which is up here. I actually think that for Guscott, it would have been better to get blue side. I would actually be curious, you guys in the comments, what do you consider is the better side on Harrow? Because I think it's a very balanced map, but usually, very often, there's one side that's slightly better. But I would definitely argue in this particular matchup, Guscott would definitely want to have blue side, because you get 3 flags here that you can push for. And then you could, I know it's deep, but you can get 2 here, and if you do that, you can also contest that one. While on the other side, you can get 3 here, but it's definitely a lot deeper than this right here. And when you're doing it, and then want to get another flank, if you get pushed out of the town, that is, you only have 2 here that you can really fight over. They have a little bit of less pressure that they can make here. It's a theory so far. I don't actually know in practice if it really, you know, makes that much of a difference. Because very rarely do people go for this and actually continue on. A lot of times people that take this get up here and then they can get kind of stuck because you can easily defend this. The same thing happens here, really. Very often when we see blue actually pushing into this, it doesn't really get much further. But at least if you put everything into this one push, you can get 3 flags. Whereas, because you kind of need to do that if you want to go deep. Over here, if you want to get everything, if you go all or nothing, you only get 2. That's an unfortunate thing over there. And then on top, of course, of that, obviously on this side, it's way easier to take 3 flags right here than it is on this side. And it's also not as easy. It's also easier to take 3 flags over here for blue than it is taking 3 over here for red. Now, red side has one big advantage, obviously, which is taking this one at the start. You can't really prevent it from blue side. So it just means that you're fighting from a back foot from the start. That can make a difference. Just holding a single tick for a little bit, as maybe, you know, things in the town are still unfolding and nothing's been decided yet. You're just continuing on with that single tick is quite nice. And, you know, it also comes down to very often to these kind of rock, paper, scissor thing, or actually it's more like mind games, actually, because it's kind of rock, paper, scissors. You don't know what your opponent's doing. If your opponent is pushing massively and you're reinforcing massively, you can actually counter this push quite well and then slowly start grinding. If this is what you plan on doing. If you reinforce heavily or deploy heavily over here, the opponent is not actually pushing it and just has a flamer in here, you've invested a lot of things for nothing. If you don't do it and your opponent's also not putting much in here, but only the one flamer, he gets a flag for basically free while he can still fight you in other places. So this is why red side, I think, has that small advantage. Blue can get more flags with one push overall. Blue, in my opinion, has, I think, can pressure red more easily outside of the town. Because I think with blue you have this, just these patches of house here make it a little bit easier for blue to hold the town. Whereas for red, you have a little bit less town to hold. And that is, I think, one advantage that blue side has once again. But at the same time, red has an easier time pressuring this flag right at the start as well. The blue has pressuring this. You can actually rush into this as well. There's all these kind of things. So that makes this very, I think, hard to say which side is actually better. So I don't know. Yeah, Curb's also pointing out the thing that I meant about the town. It says blue can cut red off from the town quite a lot easier. That is definitely, I agree. I don't know, for me personally, in my opinion, it's still more a matter of what division you have than the map itself, because I would still argue that if your division is good in town, Blue side is definitely good. Well, no, actually, if you have the flanks, blue's also better. So blue's better, I guess, in total. My bad. I was wrong then. Or you can see it as if you're better in the town area. Maybe you have an angle of getting into these where over here there's nothing to get. I don't know. I guess blue's maybe better then. Unless you actually struggle to... Unless, you know, you're not good at pushing, but then red is definitely better in my opinion. Because you can easily get... More easily get a tick going with these two flags. And just carry it on. So defensive, 45 million here. Interesting deployment by Gusgod. Even before blue takes a town, you can cut off red with long range unit in the southern... Oh, you mean this one? Yeah. Yeah, this is true. But this leaves you very exposed. You cannot really do this if your opponent can actually start going from over there. So Gusgod trying to contest the open here. Not something we see very often. We see it rarely. Gonna Picturesque getting in here. Gorners Perry did not get in as the MG42 tries to stop it. Oh no, Gusgod. Altucar, no, it's turning and the MG410 is getting on the back. I personally am not a huge fan of taking this. But if the LA5 decides to head on it, it's not gonna have a good time. If it turns into it, yeah, there we go. It's gonna get a kill. This thing turns like a rock. Like, incredibly bad. Yeah, if the LT would have just had on there, it would have been fine. But Gusgod is doing some disgusting stuff here, trying to snipe transports. As much as I like Gusgod, this is disgusting. It is fair game, as I always try to point out. It is fair game. I still find it disgusting though. The OB-25 might actually get killed off here by the Aufklär, and it's failing to kill the Panzer IIIN, which is a big problem here. Dushka not really able to stop much over here, and we do see a massive, overwhelming wave here. It's fast units, they're rushing in and do this quite well. And the leader here died too, which is important because it's one of the few bazooka units that are in this game. LA5 definitely needs to... Well, no, he can actually just turn. I think he can outturn the MA410, just get another kill. It's a cheap fighter, but it's also not one that achieves that much. Head on. 220 mils are decent, but it's not enough in a lot of things. But yeah. Orno making its way around. LA5 actually, no, Gusgod not microing properly. It didn't really turn. And the ME410 might actually get on its back. Should be really problematic. No, the LA5 FN is out turning it, but looks no, it's doing bitch and you definitely need to micro it if you want to actually really abuse the fact that your opponent can't really turn. Or not, because I guess it pulls it off. Nonetheless, Curbs in league game, I get it. But it's up to everyone. I just hate to play out of principle, so I'm not doing it, but I understand why people do it. Oh, the little half-track transport. Doing it. Getting a kill on 2-on-1. Gusgod is already out of the town, but he is taking... He's taking the flank. Didn't do the curb rush because he couldn't, but he's still doing a push over there, which I really like. Another kill for the LA5 FN by the looks of it. Which is actually quite huge because Panzerlorry is wasting a lot of points. And if he didn't do that, I think he could have Gusgod out of the town in a really precarious situation already. Because he's definitely trading well on the ground. Easily. It's just that it's kind of offset a little bit by the plane losses. Srini is slowly coming in. Gusgod is trying to reinforce. He definitely wants to focus on just holding this and not get pushed out of the town too much. And he will need to reinforce this. Harrow games are just so nice. This is kind of true. I think Harrow is a really interesting game for map for all these games. We see this very often. Oh, Panzerlorry getting a little bit too ballsy here. I think what he might have wanted is actually drive through here and then start pushing, but not really. It's actually on a 13-11, despite being, I think, on the being down here in trades. It's really taking out the SDKF set. Oh, but the Panzer IIIN is going after. If he can take all of those 1v1, the Srini can actually win this. If at some point it's not a 1v1 anymore, not so good for the Srini. The Panzer III has something to say about that too. Srini also has a lower rate of fire and needs to turn first. So the Marder engaging from the side now is going to be a problem. But it kills the Panzer IIIN. It's turning into the Marder though. Marder has a fast rate of fire. That could actually make a difference here. And of course the APCR can do something. Panzer III is trying to find a side shot. Srini goes down. He was damaged enough. There we go. Third land for Panzerlorry. Now Gusgod's push here slowly getting... Yeah, not really sure what he meant to do with those. But definitely major mistake here by not actually reinforcing. It's just pushing and not really sending anything past it. These guys so far have not really done that. If Guscott actually meant to, you know, move around here, that would be useful. Well, now it actually turns out to be useful as well to kill that STK set if it managed to do it. But I do sense a GG. I mean, Guscott has basically nothing on the left map left. He's traded poorly. I think we've seen a classical mistake of too many units not really doing anything, like these over here. They just are not ready for the task, and he was just too infantry heavy over here while also having too many support guns there. Like, it's just a weird mix of infantry that lost to the flamers, and then the Tyrans losing to this lighter armor. And Panzerlordy's deployment, I'm not actually a huge fan of it. I think he could have done more of a support Panzer free blob, but it kind of worked out. So, and obviously taking these was a huge against the Tyrans. But yeah, Guscott's just getting bullied here, and he should call that off now. He has no chance of getting this town back. This is gone. His main concern should really be to reinforce and get the flanks now, but he doesn't really have the forces to do so. Like, he would need something up here to actually contain this little push into the town. He would obviously need to put things down here, but this is already game over. I can tell you that much. Unless Panzerlordy slows down considerably. Yeah, and I think this is really the opener that... It's the opener that decided this, really. Because in terms of matchup, I think Guscott would have had a fair chance, but... It was just too weak in the town, got easily overwhelmed by all these fast units. And the Turan's not really in the right place to do much. And again, he invests a lot into having support tools here, but the problem is kind of if you push into this with infantry, then you don't need the OB-25 over here. You also don't need the Dushkov. So there's actually a lot of points here that don't really do much. Same kind of thing here. If your opponent is not pushing you into the town and you're pushing him out, then having some things in here to cut off the reinforcement road is really good. But if you're about to lose this anyway, then it doesn't really matter that much because you're just going to lose them once you've lost the town. And I think this is exactly what we're seeing right here. And now we probably should see the Chio coming in. Or a Chio 7, that can also do the trick. There's an LA5F going after the 45 mil. It's not going to change all that much though. Yeah, this is... Well, with this thing helping, the Golden Shell can definitely overwhelm the Strumpire. The LA5 could take another kill here, but it's not going to be enough to save Guscott here. The problem is also it's going to take him too long to stabilize, right? He will need to take this, which at the moment is in no position to do so, and then he's taking this, and he's making another mistake here of buying too much error in a panic, because he's using the L2 to go after tanks here. But the problem with doing that is it's not really helping anything. If he went for this one, because the AT gun here died, that would be a different story, but, you know, killing a tank here, it's not actually pressuring that much. It's not that big of a problem, because there's not really much that Panzerlordy can actually gain here. Cis 3 is here to cut it off, but even if he pushes forward, he can send in the tank from over here, through here, retake the flank. It's not the biggest problem. I'm not sure. Cherry 7 did go down, but no, it's cheap. Did the AT rifle actually do something over here? No, because no reinforcements were needed over there. Yeah, this is... I was hoping for some good games, but that doesn't look like it. Guscott, unfortunately, is just, in my experience, a very inconsistent player. As I said at the start of the stream, he pulls off some really impressive plays sometimes. And then in other moments, it's like this. And if it wasn't for the leader here, the Raider trade, we wouldn't even have that flag. Oh, this... Yeah, 50 cal transport, probably going to get killed off the corner. Strelki can't hold this off. Would love to skip ahead, but fortunately we can't. I see 152 coming. There's too many expensive tools now. And the problem is, if he doesn't buy AA, Panzerlordy is in a good spot. Like, Panzerlordy is in a perfectly comfortable spot. He can just sit. He doesn't actually need to push. And that also means that Panzerlordy can easily afford to buy a plane. So if this thing is ever a problem, it just buys the AT Stuka and we kill off the IC-152. 2 KR coming in for strafing. Not the best strafer, but, you know, can definitely do something. Boo! Actually gets a kill. It's actually a better strafer than I thought. I use it sometimes, and for some reason I always remember it being bad. Like, not bad, but not killing things in one round, but apparently it does. Maybe it was also just suppressed when I did it. As you said, send one coming in. Yeah, I mean, Panzerlord can also perfectly afford to buy AA now. And it's actually pushing into this now. Gornstrike is trying to prevent this. If they move up close, this thing has an AT grenade, and it also has SMGs. Which is going to help it, but now it's in a position where... Oh no, did this count as 100 meter? But it looks like it did. Well, now it's cover difference, so it's still going to win, actually. It's still going to win. Because the cover difference, despite the machine gun difference being quite significant, the Panzer gun is going to get killed off. 59 silver. Yeah, again, there's no comeback here. Possible Flamer is actually circling around. The Gunner Strelky should be able to beat that. You have to go on some Perry Rocks. It's now running into the Panzergren leader, but over here, Panzergren is actually bullying him here. There's also Turan here. We could do some work, but the Panzer IV is there to watch. I think it's Hartmann, probably. It's not just Hart. I know that, and that much I know. The LA5FN is going to get yet another plane by looks of it. SKZ-1 is trying to prevent that. Turn this way. I want to see it. Come on. This is the ace of the century, at least of this game. It's not going to get on the back. Second frontal pass is not going to do the trick. Is it going to turn in time? It's not being called back yet. It's not running into... Or the BTRS did something. He got a kill. Yeah, it's going to get another... Was that fourth plane now? Unless the other one went onto the LT. That's also possible. Yeah, Gunstrelky lost versus the Panzergren. You reconnect this line, which, again, with radio infantry, not that big of a deal. Don't need that. I might die to the ice. The SKZ-1 now. The SKZ-1 might actually... Oh no, it's a SIS-3, it's not a SIS-2, never mind. It's going to die very soon, but it will actually not. This thing, if it flies directly into it, might die, though. If it's an IL-2. But it can still die. And if you turn right in front of it... It's on the move, though, so it's less accurate. So, man, I think the IL-2 is going to get down. I think it wasn't. It could potentially have killed it. It's still an IL-2. You should not underestimate that. But no, it's getting out actually comfortable. So I was wrong. Happens quite often, actually. As one of the two is now in a commanding position, but it's not going to be enough for Gasco to push back into the town. So I don't really think it's going to do much. Well, he even took the 88mm with that one. I know that's just that transport. So it's yeah, no, it's a regular transport you use for the 88 because it's a heavier gun. You have to have stronger transport. I mean, Gascon is actually fighting his way back in, way better than I would have expected. Gordon's a Perry though will struggle against the Panzergren. He has a Turan, he could just shift that, but so far he has not really done that. Oh, Gascon has actually taken this lead and not the bazooka one. That is a mistake, because the only bazooka he has. He's trying to bomb his way back in, which I get, but the problem is he's still weak on the front line, doesn't really have the units then to do anything. And at the moment he's also lacking the units to really take the town back. He's going to lose one plane here, presumably the LA5. He's going after the SK-71. I actually really like the plan, however, he would have needed to time it better. Now he's going to lose it because it flew so close to it. It's single vet now. This thing is bad resilience. So I cannot imagine it surviving. Would be very happy if it did. Wow. Again, I like the plan. It's not trying with the L2 car, but he kind of would have needed to do it all together. I think he could have overwhelmed the SK-1 with this, but it needed to be timed better, and then it might have worked. That's round 2 over here. Is it going after the SK-7? It is. That could be another flag. That would be the 1410. Or the Seekers unit here actually killed. Wow. And this one, again, the Turan one is right here. He could just shift that. Oh, no. Oh, there's another J87 in. Yellow 5's back in. Oh, yeah, he had 2. So it's possible that this is not actually the one that did the work. If he catches in the right moment, yeah, no, it didn't. And he's flying into the SX-1 after already taking damage. This one is definitely going to go down. Would be very unlucky if it didn't. Yeah, there we go. Kerb says relying on the 4 rocket L4 is bad. Maybe he doesn't know how useless. Yeah, this thing is really bad. It's like, oh yeah, I think Gasco just doesn't know what to do, so he bought an IS-2. There's 15 minutes left. He's not really trading that well. Now the Chase 7s are still in bullying him, so he definitely would need some AA, which he doesn't have. The Pantherground is actually threatening more flags. Oh no. This could so easily be avoided. He just needed a line infantry or the I to run one, and now to run one is actually going to get killed by the Panzer IV. He's on the run. I don't think it's going to be enough. There we go. Down it goes. One flag for Panzerlorry. That's going to be the 59 once again. It didn't need to be the 59. I'm really critical here, but I think Gasco's playing is really poorly. I'm sorry. Knowing him, I think he can take that criticism. I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but yeah. Oh, and the 88 is gonna take out the SU-150. Yeah. Surprised it took him in A phase. Actually, I'm surprised it took him at all, to be honest, because he's an IS-2. But then again, I mean, what else does he... Well, I was saying, what else does he have that can deal with the SU-152, but truthfully, if you're at 2k, this thing can just sit here, and then you ground attack the 80, like right in front of the 88, and the 88's not going to get the shoot. So it's actually easily counterable. I would probably just not bother with it. But it took out another one. So Gasco has lost both of those. And now the Panzerground DP is making some pressure over here. Everything's being forced back over here. It's building up a new push, but didn't really see it being enough. The IS-2, okay, nice position here to block things off. It's definitely going to work. It's 2 forced back to Marder. I'm surprised that the Marder shorter than this 2 is not responding. This is very weird. Yeah, no, he's ground attacking it, so it should be moving. We would just see new push to the line here kind of collapsed eventually. The 2 Sturmpires will definitely overwhelm this blob over there. So I think now that he's under pressure, Gasco is delaying the inevitable quite effectively, but it's not really good enough. Oh, it is unload in time, or did he actually kill it off? No, it doesn't look like there's a threat transport, so it looks like Panzerlorry noticed. Now there's a row of tanks coming in. 2 of which just to deal with that. So, you know, it was effective. It was effective. It killed 2 things over here, or 1 thing. And now it's going to delay. It's going to force the buying of a lot of tanks. Although there's not really that much that Gasco has to counter those, so I think it's going to be quite effective. Now there's a Nimrod, so J87 this time is not going to get back in. Actually, in here, maybe. Going after Comroti, fought bravely, but now there's a Panzergrenadier and a Sturmpire on its ass, so it's going to be a tricky one. Again, he had a nice airstrike going on, but he just doesn't really have any tools to get back in here. Oh, and now the 88 has moved, so I'm going to pick off that to round 1, and then it's going to go after the Gornadushka. And now there's a Ju-87 called the IS-2. And this is not the place where Gasco really has AA. Over here is also lost the fight as expected, so the Nimrod needs to be very careful. He can definitely kill all of those, just needs to be careful that this thing doesn't get into Panzerschreck range. Panzerfaust range, sorry. More Grille and Panzer IV coming. US again set someone in the center. Yeah, this is not going to get overwhelmed this time. IS-2's on the run, but might survive, might not. No, it does not. But even if it didn't, it would be severely damaged. And it doesn't make that much of a difference. Gasco doesn't have any pressure left here. To run 2 is also going to fall to the T-34 here. It doesn't really have a chance. It's blasting away. It got a pen, but I don't think it's going to be that lucky again. This one might actually take it down. No. If it hits. It's a heat shell. It needs to land. This thing, on the other hand, there we go. 1 T-34 down. Gorno after pushing in, which got the flag, by the way. Doing some work. The L2K probably strafed the units over there. It's back to 14-10. Thanks to Nimrod just holding this, and this blob still standing strong. But there's a blob of Sturmpires now coming in that's going to clear this out for good. It's going to be the end of that. 2 coming in once again. Going for these guys. I mean, now that he has it, he might as well use it. Now we have the nice one coming in. So this thing's... There's nothing here that can counter this at the moment. But, you know, buy one Panzer or two, then this problem's going to be solved. Bombing run after the Schrumpire. Not sure what this is trying to do here. He's trying to spot. I'll probably approach from over here to strafe the 88. Little does he know there's also the 37 mil over there. Curb says Gasco is doing badly considering the circumstances. I expect an 18-6 now. I did so as well. I think he recovered nicely. It's just that he's already back too far back. It's just he just screwed up the opener really. He made some other back holds after that. I think buying too much air too soon. But I don't think that changed the outcome massively. I think he just screwed up the opener, and that is kind of lacking behind ever since. So it's one of those cases where you can play good, but it's not gonna it's gonna delay things, but it's not gonna change the outcome ultimately. Plan on doing anything else after this game? I think I'm gonna get off here afterwards. It has been a nice, probably 3-ish hours of streaming, and that usually gets me quite tired. I still feel energetic enough, but not. Somewhat energetic, but not enough. I'm basically just going to cast this from start to finish. And I think then I'm going to call it a day. Oh, DDH, I also found the AS1. The AS1 is not at a distance where I can actually shoot back. It's really a shame that this thing doesn't have the 2K 85mm gun. But it's probably better, because honestly it would be super annoying if it had. It's already annoying as it is. I imagine this thing with 2K as well. Absolutely horrible. Going after versus Sturmpire. Going after's gonna win, yeah. Even oh no, this is a regular going after. This thing is really nice. It's just an after, but it has Raider, and I really love Raider, as you might have heard so already. But the problem with this is it doesn't have any AT grenades, which is really nice on the after. It has a smoke, which allows you to do some good plays. But if you're like me and you're horrible at using your smokes on your infantry, then there's actually more of a downside than a plus. But considering that how strong defensively AFTOs are, I would still consider it a downgrade overall, even if you use smokes well, to be honest. Still some nice kills here for Goscott. I really think if he had deployed a little bit better and fought a little bit better in the opener, I think he definitely has a good chance. It's definitely looked worse for him. Now, Panzerlorry is obviously helping a little bit in by him not being super aggressive, despite having the options to do so. I think Panzerlorry could have started Q-moving things, but I think that would actually have made Goscott's trades better. I think Panzerlorry is showing some good restraint here. He's still making some a little bit ballsy pushes, but he can actually afford to do that. So it's not that bad, actually. But as soon as this thing arrives, it's going to be back to 15-9. I might actually be sooner because Sturmpires here are finally engaging. They did kill the Governor Strelki. Now the leader is the only thing that's... Oh, so he took 2 leaders. That's why. Okay. He did take them on with the bazooka. There we go, 15-9. Half a minute left. It's going to be the end of that. IS-1 versus T-34. Not a good fight for the T-34. But the IS-1 is also looking at the barrel of an 88 once again. Unless it's sort of Gorno. But we do not see how that unfolds. And I mean, the kill difference is actually not as crazy as I thought. But Goscott had a lot of planes, which adds up to a lot of points that were not on the ground. Goscott says, I mainly did these pushes to keep him on his feet. Plus, I didn't realize how much I killed. Well, I actually think it was good to show some restraint, because the problem is if you push too deep, at some point, not anymore. I think towards the end he could have done it. He didn't have any armor left really to send out against you. But if he had done it too early, you could easily have traded it very badly in the process of doing so. You would also have left yourself too exposed to the air that you already have. Like, you know, it's actually you always have to know when it's time to not push anymore and just be happy with what you have. Making those little pushes is actually a good move. Or like the city opener. Yeah, the city opener was good and his is not. So that was really what won you the game. You got a good opener and he wasn't ready for it. And it's really hard to come back from it after that point. If we look at the chronology, maybe we can see it here. The LA5, this is still, do not take this Panzer. It is not a good play. But yeah, we can see it here. There's a few, like a handful of kills, but everything else here will kill off really quickly. And Gascon was just so weak in the town. Like, he had some of these things at the sides, but that doesn't really work that well. Again, it's just, it can work well if you actually have a massive hold in the town, but he didn't do that. So then it's kind of a waste of points, unfortunately. Yeah, and then the Marder's doing Marder things. This really couldn't really withstand that. This thing definitely did great work as well. This is super efficient. So never sleep on those transports. They're actually really nice. Minute 10. Yeah, some nice recoveries were made by Goscott. It can definitely see a little bit of a comeback here, but then, yeah, still lost too many things, especially the 152s, which were massive kills for Panzerloli. And I think from there it was just smooth sailing for him. Like, Goscott still has pockets of coming back. Let's actually see if this was just one LA5 making all those kills. No, it wasn't. One got the 2M410s and the other one got the JD 87s then, by the looks of it. Gunstrike did well. I really like this unit, actually. If they can find a flamer, you can see. They still have some range. L2 carried actually not too bad at strafing. Some AT guns sit well. This thing actually killed even more thing than I noticed. Actually quite nice. And the Nimrod did... I love to see it. This thing it can actually kill because it does 6 damage. So the Nimrod used to be 10 points and it could actually take on a lot of mediums. But now it only has 8 HP, and that means that a lot of the mediums can actually one-shot it, but not the Panzer III, because it doesn't have 8 damage. So Nimrod used to be like that, just deleting tanks. Quite sad I missed it. And then one of the other AT guns, and the IS-1 actually did something too. And over here, Marder. Wow, look at this thing. It just killed everything here. But Marders are Marders. It's just crazy that none of these managed to actually get 2 shots on it to be able to kill it. This thing is really good. We saw this here kind of. Surprised about it killing 2 OB-25s. Not sure how that happened. Panzergren. Yeah, the 88. Massive value on that one. Same as this one. And that was about it. I'm gonna be so real back off since I thought he had a Panzerschreck covering the Nimrod. Ah. Well, the Nimrod will generally kill tanks at close range. Like, sorry, not generally. It will kill a limited amount of tanks like the Panzer III now. For example, if it's Turan, you can't pull it off because Turan fires too fast. I also had a Marder there, I didn't see that. By the way, the Ace didn't die this time. Yeah, the Ace didn't die, but I mean, there was nothing that could have killed it anyway. But yeah, so it wasn't fighting that much. So if it doesn't fight, it survives. But yeah, you're right. It didn't die. Usually Aces die. It's kind of a meme, but it's actually kind of true as well. Yeah, I saw one of the flanking maneuvers. That was actually quite nice. Although the flanking did nothing. The Marder was what killed the Serini anyway. Before the flanking could kick in. But yeah. So I'm going to call it here. I was actually almost precisely 3 hours after we started. Maybe it's actually off by a little bit. What? It's just less. I'm pretty sure it was like 2 minutes. 2 minutes of rest. But anyway, yeah, I think that was enough for today. So I started to get a little bit tired, and I think we're out of games to cast unless there is one running. Ponyboy is playing his games because he's announced it, but I don't see him. No, I don't. So I'm going to call it here. So this is going to be enough for today. So thank you all so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have missed the announcement, just a reminder that tomorrow there will be also a stream. It will be the new kind of stream that I want to try, a little bit more community oriented, where I also get some of you onto the stream. those who want. Obviously for tomorrow, as I said in the announcement as well, it is actually pre-planned who is going to participate, because for a test run, I want to know that I have people who are actually going to do it. So I made a little post on my Discord for those of you who are not aware, and some people reached out, and we're going to do some teaching tomorrow, like some coaching, and a code-cast with someone. We'll see tomorrow who that's going to be. So yeah, 3 in the afternoon, CET is when it's going to be. So join in, watch and enjoy the show. And in the future ones, if this has enough interest, I will do more. And then the idea is that people can actually just drop in, and yeah, some people who ask in the stream can join for one of the different activities that you can do. So for those of you who've not seen the post because they're not in the Discord, the ideas, there are a few ideas. One is code-cast, but this is more meant for good players. One is, or we can also just play a matchup. Hopefully something fun or memey. You can even make the diff for me, but you can kind of choose it. That's the idea of the thing. Or you can just join me while I'm playing a game, join in the Discord, and you can ask all your questions, because I know that when I'm playing, I'm doing not such a good job at commenting about everything that I'm thinking. So if you want to learn from that, this is one thing that you can also do. Or coaching, I can coach you, or you can coach me if you're a good player. All these kind of things. Again, for tomorrow, no spontaneous joining possible, but in the future, ideally as well. So yeah, see you tomorrow, hopefully, for this first test run. And yeah, hope we're going to all have some fun. So thank you all for watching it. Have a great day. Good night. See everyone next time.